It sucks because I
In
think a lot of people kind of gave up on ROH over the last few years. Most people point at the Madison Square Garden show, but it was a little bit before that. There was a little bit. It was kind of coming already. The Madison Square Garden show was like the cherry on top of a shit cake.
Wow. Shit cake. Okay.
it was their biggest show yet, and they fucking was a wet fart in church. Like, it was all about New Japan. When the most memorable things, I talked about it with.
The crazy thing is that the quality of wrestling hasn't changed.
No,
It's still really, really great wrestling. There's just nobody there to see it.
It's like it's still a great person. This was a great person, but they're dying.
If anyone comes out to interfere in the match, they're fired. Well, clearly everybody just interfered in the Pure Rules match because everybody's fired.
3D chess out here in these streets. Yeah, Romeo, why are you shaking your head?
Can you believe Red Dragon is split up in this draft? Split up.
We're like WWE with the New Day out here in these streets.
That's so Romeo.
That is so perfect. Fuck off, Nigel McGuinness, till us all for not picking him. And look at that. You got stick figure Shingo, stick figure Ospreay.
93% true heel heat.
We did it. We finally took a W. Finally took a W. It took us a while. We needed ROH to go out of business. For us to win.
Can I confess something?
How good?
Can I confess something?
Yes.
It was actually 100, but I went and voted for Dirty Radio. I didn't want them to have 0. So they have 7.
You see, Romeo calls it right down the middle, not like our other producer. He's a little biased. It was a good time on True Hill Heat 149. We are here for the big 150, and what a week in wrestling that we are going to discuss. WWE mass releases, I don't know, part 4, 5, 6 since 2020. We're going to be talking about much more about the superstars that were released this week. And we have a very special guest, Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net. Producer, hit the intro. Hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for True Hill Heat 150 release Rehab. We're going to be talking about the latest wrestling news, including WWE's mass releases of the week with 18 superstars being cut, including Keith Lee, Nia Jax, Karrion Kross, and much more. We're going to be here with our special guest. Get to know our special guest here on this edition of True Hill Heat. We're going to be talking about Jon Moxley and him having to be pulled from AEW television because he's entering rehab, and much more in the wrestling world. But let me introduce the beautiful, the lovely, the princess of all the True Hills, Miss Krssi Luv.
Good morning, everybody. I feel a rant coming on. I can't wait to talk about all this BS that happened this week. So we have to dive right on in, friend.
And we don't have Top Guy JJ here with us this week, so we can't get a Top Guy JJ rant. But we have big shoes to fill, and we filled it with an esteemed colleague in the wrestling media game. This man is known as the Spoiler. He's been doing work with the big scoops in AEW, WWE, and beyond. He is the man behind Bodyslam.net, the one, the only, Cassidy Haynes. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on, man. It's nice to meet you guys and actually get on the show. We've talked about it for a while, so it's actually nice to be here, man.
Yes, we're very happy to have you, man. I've been talking to you for a while, been a fan of your work, so I'm very happy to have you on with us. I know you, and I know a lot of our viewers know you, but for anyone who doesn't, could you please tell them a little bit about yourself and, of course, bodyslam.net?
Yeah, man. My name's Cassidy Haynes. I own bodyslam.net. I launched it 3 years ago, almost 4 at this point. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. So you were talking about top guys. That's where we're from, man. It's top guy country up here. So yeah, man. And from Atlanta. I was born in Marietta. I've lived in the South most of my life. So yeah, man. That's it for me. I just do wrestling down here, and I've been traveling a lot this last year. So try to keep up. I got full gear next weekend, so getting ready for that expensive trip that I'm planning on doing again.
And better bundle up, because I heard it's going to be cold.
Right? Like, great. Can't wait to travel to Minnesota in the winter. That sounds like a beautiful, wonderful trip that I just can't wait to partake in.
The life in wrestling media. You do it for the work.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. I've already got some more episodes planned of my Taking Chops series that we're doing. So I'm going to record some of those next weekend with some people. So
nice.
Hopefully have some more good content for everybody to enjoy. My pain is your gain, right? So
you do it for the fans. That's what we do it for out here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you do it for us. So show your support. Drop a thumbs up on this video. Share this video with your friends. Of course, if you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. But we're going to get to a lot on this episode here, because it was a busier week than expected. But this edition of True Hill Heat is brought to you by our friends over at Powered 4 TV. You can get 1 month off Powered 4 TV with the promo code HEAT. Heat. Use the heat to get 1 month off at Powered 4 TV. And of course, if you want even more True Hill Heat to support even more, patreon.com/True Hill Heat for more exclusive content, including the True Hill Heat post show. We start off with our True Hill roll call for all our supporters, subscribers on our YouTube channel and social media. On the True Hills group page, our top 3 conversation starters. Coming in at number 3 is Dennis Smith. Coming in at number 2 is Jessica V. And coming in at number 1, who do you think it is, Miss Krssi Luv?
The Negro Buck. Duh.
Of course, Nick Jackson, number 1 once again. True Hills, we got a shout out. True Hills, we got a shout out. Evan Christopher Jones, James Wims, Connor Smith, you my boy Blue, and our YouTube subscriber highlight, Off the Top Ropes podcast, said on True Hill Heat 149. It's sad what's going on in ROH right now, and I hope they all land on their feet. And my oh my, how much things change in a week. We went from talking about Ring of Honor and they're releasing all their talent, restructuring the whole company. And now this week we have WWE mass releases again on November 4th, 2021. Yes, I believe it's part 5. You correct me in the comment section. Please let me know.
Let me check it out. Let me see. Hold on. We got
check from 2020.
Sounds right.
2020, yeah. Mass releases, so more than a couple at once. But yes, once again, WWE did mass cuts right after publicly reporting that they did $256 million profit this past quarter in revenue. Yes. The list that they released was Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, Ember Moon, Oni Lorcan, Frankie Monet, Trey Baxter, Grand Metalik, B-Fab, Katarina Cortez, Jesse Kamea, Jeet Rama, Nia Jax, Keith Lee, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Eva Marie, Mia Yim, Lindsay Dorado, Zeta Ramira. So that is 18 that were released just this week from WWE. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that the wrestlers have either a 90-day or 30-day non-compete clauses, depending on whether they were on the main roster on NXT. As usual, main roster wrestlers have a 90-day non-compete clause. The main roster talent will be free agents on February 2nd, while the NXT wrestlers will be available starting December 4th. Trey Baxter has already booked a show for GCW just this week as well, right after being released. Smart man. Smart
He needs
man.
his money.
The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that there were multiple factors on why the talent was let go, but their age played a role. The company believes they don't have enough talent in their 20s on television and are hoping to hire bigger, younger people with more of a legitimate athletic background. The directive on hiring women is 25 or younger. It was noted that in the case of Oni Lorcan specifically, it was felt that he was seen as someone who wasn't going to make the main roster, and those wrestlers are the ones that WWE has been cutting from NXT as of lately. Trey Baxter is young, but considered too small for what they were looking for. Jeet Rama is 40, which likely played a role in him getting cut. The Wrestling Observer newsletter also had a couple of reports that followed up from the reports from the New York Post that one member of talent roster was released in part because of their vaccination status. The Post specifically named Nia Jax is the person who, according to a source with knowledge of WWE operations, was released for that reason. Matt Man podcast Andrew Zarian reported that a source said that it is believed possibly 4 people were released due to not being vaccinated, while Fightful Select reported that at least 5 of the release stars were openly unvaccinated, including some surprising names, and there are no details on who, and they did not confirm Jax's name. Fightful's report notes that the WWE sources were stressed that the vaccination status is not the only reason for these releases, and that it wasn't the reason across the board for the releases in general. The site notes that the rumor of releases have been running rampant, with several people expecting cuts to have happened last Friday, and there were wrestlers and other companies who had heard rumors that vaccination related cuts were going to be the reason coming to WWE. So let's first talk about, before we splinter off into all the different names, and there's like stories behind that as well, let's just talk about what was your guys' general reaction to these latest batches of cuts from the WWE on Thursday. We'll start with Cass.
I can't say I was really surprised. I'd kind of heard it was coming. We kind of had heard that, and with the vaccination stuff, like I'd been hearing that in previous rounds too, that was some factors that had played in. And I'd actually heard from people talking the other night that the number's probably a little bit more than 5. It's probably, my people estimated it's probably close to like 70% of the cuts the other day were probably non-vaccinated. Can't confirm that, but that was apparently, I was hearing that was a pretty big factor that played in, but they get the excuse. I mean, there was all these other excuses, budget cuts, age, all that stuff that I don't think many people really are buying, but it sucks, man. There's a lot of good people that just lost work, but they're going to land on their feet. There's better opportunities out there for them. Like Scarlett already was getting clothing line options or all types of other stuff that's popping up. So these people are going to be better off, anyway. They weren't going to get used right, obviously, the way they were. This treatment shows that they probably weren't going to get treated well anyway, so.
Yeah, they were on the bottom of the totem pole in WWE's mind, so they probably never were going to get used in the way that a lot of these people deserve. Miss Krssi Luv warned me before we went live today that she had a rant coming because she was very frustrated with this news. So, Krssi, and of course, we want to hear from all of you guys in the live chat, your thoughts on the releases. If you have a super chat donation, those are always appreciated, and make sure we highlight your comment, your question, your hot take. But Krssi, let us know how you feel about these releases and what was your reaction.
Okay, first of all, make it make sense, because we have people that are on this list that shouldn't be on this list, and you still have people that have jobs that shouldn't have jobs. I can name Dewdrop is one of them. What's the man that was with Frankie Monet? He could have been on that list too. We have wasted talent that's there. You could have wiped a bunch of these people that's on this list that shouldn't even be on. Mia Young hasn't even been on TV in probably a year. Yeah. Let's just call it what it is. We kind of knew that was coming. Keith Lee was now Bearcat Lee. That was on. I'm surprised he became Bearcat Lee and didn't just get dropped before he even came back on the TV. He was on TV twice, if that.
Yeah. That he went through a whole ordeal this year with getting sick.
How do you fuck up Keith dying. Lee though? How do you fuck this guy last year in NXT? He was he was double champion. How do you he He did so well in the Royal Rumble, and y'all still fucked that up. Like how? Vince McMahon is scum. Sorry.
I was gonna say that's what it all boils down to right there.
He is scum because I don't know. That is Keith Lee was a cash cow. Cow. We bastard like. First of all, we already kind of knew once they called him up, it was over. He had to relinquish belts. Like we that was BS. That part right there alone was just like trash. You make him be a champion for a week and a half, and then let's just clean it off and let's just bring him up. Bring him up. Change his gear. Why? He's a big guy. You like big guys. I don't understand how you fuck him up. It just make it make sense. B-Fab. She hasn't even been there. They haven't even been there that long. The group hasn't even been together 6 months. Maybe behind the scenes, but not on TV. And you last night I seen them. It didn't make no sense. It's just three guys now that just rap or just say shit and just have to go outside. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. How do you fuck that up? Now, yeah, we could have did better with her braids. I understand the whole look wasn't polished. I was one of those people that was critiquing it. However, it was fashion and it was a group with these people. You have a girl in it. We could put a whole bunch of guys together whenever, but you let her go. Make it make sense, people. It don't make no sense because that group right there, you brought them up. They haven't even been up 2 weeks now. She was on TV one day last week. That's it, and now she's gone. Okay, maybe it was a status. I don't know, but it just all of these people, all this. So you knew these people all together for how long now? How long we been talking about statuses? How long we been in this panorama now?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while now. Now we're like accustomed to all of this foolishness now. Something that we thought was going to be over. Now we have to now adapt to. This is the new world. This is the new thing that we're living in now. How do you like Frankie Monet? Trash. We knew she was trash when she first came on TV she lost her third match. Like it didn't make it like
that's true.
She was supposed to be one of y'all big people that you signed. And how do you fuck that up? How do you mess that up? It's just like and then you have like people that came when Minion was in that group. What was they called?
Retribution.
Thank you. Now we have to forget about. But half of those guys are still there. But you seem somehow couldn't get this girl on TV. She could have had great matches with the girls. You didn't even give her a chance. You didn't even she didn't never had a chance. What match was she in besides tag matches with the guys? I didn't see her not one time do anything one-on-one.
I don't think she had.
She
did. I think she had like 1 or 2 matches on Raw as retaliation or
reckoning.
Reckoning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who else is on this damn list? Ember Moon. What was the point of calling her back? What was the point? She was on a tag team. Then you call Shanti. Then you break them up. All you could do is laugh. I agree. All you can do is laugh. Too bad you got an Android, but it's another story. That's just I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know. The first NXT champion. Correct me if I'm wrong. One of them.
Well, she's the first. I think she's the first one to win both the NXT women's title and the women's tag team titles.
How?
I think that's right.
What happened? How? Yes, her mic skills weren't that deep. Okay, fine. But she can wrestle her fucking ass off. How? Yeah. How do you mess that up? You take her tag partner away. You do all these things. She was in a group. Like, they were good together. How do you fuck that up? How? You obviously called her back for a reason. But then we didn't see her on TV that much. What happened? Like, who is doing this? Like, what? Like, make it make sense. Like, this is the BS that we're talking about. And they wonder why people don't want to watch their shit. They wonder why people go and watch other things. Because they stuff are consistent. It makes sense. They're giving people shine. And you guys have all these people just sitting there being paid. And you're like, oh, we have budget cuts. You guys just made money. You just came from Saudi Arabia. Don't give me that BS. You get Peacock money. You don't give me this shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You got all these people paying $5 a month, $10. I'm one of those stupid people that give $10 a month.
Why do you do that? You don't like commercials?
I can't do the commercial. I'm sorry. It
Okay.
irks my nerves.
That's
I'm
all right.
in the middle of watching something and you give me a commercial. It's like YouTube. It's just I can't do it, friend. Sorry.
Can't have a commercial when you're watching the cock.
No,
we got a super chat donation here from Vala B saying, I don't get it. It's like they pulled the names from a hat. Why
Yes.
waste the money repackaging Keith Lee, Killer Cross? It's not because they're not making them money. BFAB made money. They sold t-shirts. So it's tough to understand a lot of these. This is I said when we did our live.
Poor Nia Jax.
Well, we will get to her as well. And I just said when we did our live, the Romeo report on Thursday after it was first said that this is probably the most baffling group because there was so many people that just a few months ago they were talking about having big plans for that they repackaged that they was like, oh, we're gonna make it better, let it play out. Beef Bearcat Lee, you know, I had people that never heard of Bearcat Wright telling me about Bearcat Wright and saying, oh no, this is just a tribute. He came up with it, and then we find out he had nothing to do with that. The Karrion
you
Kross.
know good and well he didn't put that shit there. You know, y'all the blind know that. Stevie wanted to see that shit.
Some people don't. Some people don't want to admit it to themselves.
How do you fuck up Scarlett and Karrion Kross? They had the biggest vignettes of all, like the entrance alone, and then you have him come up by himself, no Scarlett, because she's still clearly a part of his look, his thing, and you take her away and didn't even do anything with her.
To talk about Kross, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that Karrion Kross, who was one of the people fired, of course, likely was released because he didn't get over, they said. It was reported that Vince McMahon made the call to release Kross because he hadn't got over with fans after getting moved to the main roster. Kross was initially moved as his character from NXT minus Scarlett, but still NXT champion, but lost to, of course, Jeff Hardy in his debut. After losing the NXT title, he moved to the Raw brand full time and got a character tweak with the whole entrance gear, the gladiator gear that looked like a gimp outfit, and he hadn't been used on TV as of late, and there were rumors that he was going to be repackaged again. Cassidy, I said on the True Hill Heat Twitter page after this that this is one of the grandest, or probably the greatest, NXT call-up failure that I can ever imagine because of where he was in NXT, that they put all their top guys. He got over on all of them just to get called up to the main roster, and they finished him on the first night. And this is like the quickest downward spiral that I can remember.
And they wonder why he didn't get over. It's confusing. Like, we don't understand why he didn't get over when we called him up to the main roster. I mean, maybe it's because you built him up as a huge, like an unstoppable force, and then you bring him up to the main roster and have him lose to Jeff Hardy and like instantly, and then you don't have any idea why he's not getting over. It probably makes sense to think about like what you did to him and how you booked him. They didn't give him a chance from the get-go, man. Like, and then blaming it on his look. Oh, we'll repackage it. That'll fix it. Obviously, that wasn't it. So they had to tweak it again, and then just got rid of him. Yeah, the excuse of him not getting over on the main roster is the reason.
You made him lose to Jeff Hardy. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you set it up for that. You set him up to not get over from the get-go. And
like, how do you think fans are supposed to feel about that? Happy? Yeah. Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy for a reason. He's a legend, no doubt. But you made him lose to Jeff Hardy in his first night. Sorry.
And Jeff Hardy wouldn't have cared to easily have put him over,
exactly,
and work that program longer.
He's doing interviews in the backstage with new girls that don't have a job.
I was talking about that last night. What's the point of Jeff Hardy right now? Is his whole thing is just to show people around backstage? like the father figure that's like, hey, get on the bug. Let me show you where catering is. I mean, what's his point? Like,
he's the hall monitor. Yeah. That's his new gimmick.
So Karrion Kross loses to the hall monitor, and you wonder why he didn't get over on the main roster. There's more to it than they're saying. It's all excuses. They're just giving you a bunch of excuses. There's real underlying reasons there that they're not going to get into, and I think it's probably the vaccination thing. A lot of it is because it's not a mandated thing. They're not saying you have to have it, but yet at the same time, it's obviously affecting whether or not you're going to have a job or not. So they need to be a little bit more transparent with how it plays into what's going to happen with your career.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense too. I mean, I'm not trying to defend it, but if you're traveling and they're going everywhere, you're risking being sick if you're not vaccinated.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm. Getting other people sick.
If you do have a shot, it's just a couple days, right? You're gonna be down a few days. Then as soon as you're good to go. But if you're not, you're down 2 weeks and then 2 weeks of quarantine. So you maybe a month of TV time you're gonna miss, and it's hard for them to risk investing that into you if they can't guarantee that you're going to be on TV for a month. If you lose TV for a month right after they put you in a huge TV program, there's reasons there, I'm sure, but they're not going to come out and say it. It doesn't seem like to be like, it sucks.
These are also the same people that didn't follow protocol, and everyone was getting sick when this first all happened too. So now also you want to follow guidelines and everything too? Please. Yeah. You was getting niggas sick before that.
Yep. It's all a big shit show, man.
It's all a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck boys, I call them.
It's not looking good at all. But out of all these 18 superstars that were released this week, which one was the most surprising to you, Miss Krssi Luv?
Keith Lee. I mean, I can't say I am surprised, but I was surprised because how do you mess that up? B-Fab was definitely a big surprise to me. Keith Lee and B-Fab was very, very shocking to me. B-Fab just got called up. Yeah, she needed a little tweaking and everything. But I feel like with a little guidance from the other girls that are veterans, they could have helped her a lot.
Yeah. I
think she could have gotten so much help from the other girls in the back. She was only there, 2 weeks? Mm. She's probably been with the company on TV, maybe 2 months, if that.
Probably maybe 4 or 5 months they debuted ago. Yeah, it hasn't been. Yeah, it hasn't even been a full year.
Yeah, I agree with this guy in the comment. Nia Jax was the one that shocked me.
Just
because
I thought she was untouchable like the rest of the family.
Is. Yeah, that's exactly the reason. I thought because of who her family, not because of the fact that she's known to be a little dangerous in the ring and hurt people. Because obviously that hadn't stopped them before. They would have. If that was an issue, they would have addressed that.
Well, look at the other brother. He keeps getting DUIs and he don't get in trouble. So, I mean, why should she get in trouble?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought that she'd be a little bit more untouchable than most.
Because of the family, yes.
Because of the family. But then again, I think it comes down to her publicly being so vocally outspoken on the vaccine and all that stuff. I mean, she was vocal about it. She didn't hide her thoughts on it at all. And I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with this decision. New York Post, I think, reported I've been hearing that as reasons for a while for people. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. This doesn't surprise me. It wish they would be more, like I said, more transparent on it with their talent about it being a factor and a reason, and give them a chance to either make a decision as to what they want to do. Don't tell them it's not an option. There's not a problem. You can make your choice one way or the other when it carries into how they're gonna see your future. And it sucks, man. It's shitty, If it's not, I just think that it should be either mandated or not, and it shouldn't play into their decision. But obviously, it is. So
it is, yeah.
It is.
I think everyone is. I think more so, nobody has a problem with it. But it's now when you're telling me that I have to do it, you're mandating me you're making me do it. That's why I think everyone is like, you can't make me do this. I think that's what it is, because I know everyone wants to get back to normal, but once you start saying, oh, you have to do this, or you lose your job. What do you mean I have to do this? I think it's the point of people being told what to do instead of giving them options. And it's okay. You guys have till then to figure it out, and then you can get the vaccine. Give them a deadline. I think maybe you have to do it. I think the wording for it is all where I think not just as wrestler. I think a lot of people in general is they're walking off the job and here out in New York City once you're telling people that they have to do it, and people don't like to be told, they're grown adults and they feel like they're being taught like children now. And I think that's just where people's mindsets are now you can't tell me what to do. How dare you? I'm an adult. I'm grown. I pay money. I do this. I have a job. Why do you think you feel like you have the right to tell me what I have to do now? And I think that's
not
where
the first time, though. I mean,
it's not the first, and that's what it is, especially me. If you go back in history, it's not the first time we've had these things that has happened. But I think now, it's a lot of power issues. This is not talking about wrestling now. Sorry, but I just feel
that's the thing with this is it's such a political topic, and that has a lot to do with why they I think they want to separate themselves from these political issues and these people that draw or dredge up this political conversation like you had with Trey Wirtz. He was big about that. He got gone last time. Somebody that keeps bringing up these hotbed topics that are also politically driven. I don't think they want anything to do with that. I don't blame them one bit. But an issue they're getting into with vaccines is now that they're traveling and they're on the road again, certain places require them to have a vaccination to even get into the building.
Yeah.
So if you have to sit there and be like, all right, who can we book this week, and go through the list to see who's got the shot and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And then you got to plan into like, okay, well, we can't write a storyline for them this week because next week they're not allowed to get into the building. And it says there's a lot into that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into that. And I'm not trying to justify that as being an excuse, but I mean, from a business standpoint, and they are a business. They, like you said, they just reported their earnings, and they make money. They're going to make money regardless. And that's the thing. And, so, I mean, why do something that's going to slow down their ability to make money? I mean, they're going to make it regardless with or without you. So, I mean, get on board.
Clearly.
Or not. That's kind of their mindset,
They're like a train.
They are a train.
You gotta get out the way as
get
if
on the stop, or
they're
gonna keep going. Yep, they're gonna keep going to the next stop. Yep.
Because it doesn't matter about whether you want to get the vaccination or not, or even if you're going through a mental health situation, because that's what Nia Jax also says that she was going through, and that's why she's been away from television. She said prior to her release before, also saying that the company did not respond to her request for an extension. Additionally, she noted that despite a report regarding vaccination status being a factor in her release, her vaccination status was never mentioned by the company. The quote is up here from her Instagram. She said, and I quote, "I usually keep my personal life private, but yesterday's reports leave me with no option but to clarify matters. I recently took a short leave of absence from WWE for a mental health break. I've been working through so much, more than I can share, and so I took some time with the full support of the company to take care of myself. Earlier this week, after WWE sent me my schedule to return to the ring for the November 15th show, I asked for an extension to my mental health break, feeling that I needed more time and hoping I would have the ongoing support of the company I've been giving my all to for the past 7 years. I did not receive a response. The next I heard, I was being released. My vaccination status was never mentioned. I wasn't given any choices or options. It breaks my heart to be so abruptly let go without consultation when dealing with so much privately. I loved my career at WWE. I love the men and women I worked with, and I am going to need time to process this huge loss. I appreciate those people who have shown understanding and compassion during an incredibly difficult time." So in a week, we're going to be time to talk about. I'm just saying, in a week that AEW did their show on Wednesday and were like giving support to Jon Moxley, who decided to take a break from himself and deal with a personal problem he was dealing with in alcoholism, WWE releases someone who was on a mental health break a month after what happened with Daphne too. Like, Cassidy.
Same thing with he was on release and he was dealing with mental issues. Like, I mean, he said that as well. And that's another sensitive, touchy subject too. You get into, and I've seen reports on the Bray situation where they were like, yeah, I mean, they didn't. Just people in the suits said, what would you do? It's a business. What would you have to, do that at some point, cut your losses? But that's another just sensitive, really touchy subject. I mean, they can't make a stance and say, like that one way or the other about this mental health stuff, taking time off. I mean, they have to give people time off at the same time, but they have to look into like, all right, how much time can we give you for something? They got money invested in these people too. It sucks. They need to do more, I think, as far as addressing this and treating this before it comes to the point where the person just has to take time away. They need to have better things in place to help people, better programs to make people not have to deal with these issues where they just have to leave the scene and go away and go home for a while to get their head right. There's just a lot of stuff going on with that. It's happening a lot right now too. There's a lot of people that struggle with mental health in wrestling, and there needs to be a lot looked into that, I think, It just happens
Pressure.
way too much depression, and way too much all the other shit that goes along with it too. You know, it sucks, man. And Moxley situation, good for him. Really good for him to take that step, take those steps, and to be open about it. You know, because there's a lot of people that take time away and they don't make it public. You know, and some of us on the industry hear about it, but yet we're not going to report about it because it's not our place to put somebody's personal business like that out. So it's good for him to go ahead and do that, because it shows, you know, other people that might needed to do something similar that might not have before because they're worried about the appearance, the public perception or whatever too, you know? So good for him, and good for the AEW for addressing it the way they did. I think they're handling the mental health thing a little bit differently than WWE is, obviously, because they're kind of going at it head on instead of kind of, you know, let's just put them off TV and not talk about it and just hope that it fixes itself kind of situation. When obviously it's not fixing itself.
But they don't think about this as also, like, not saying that it's also a way for them to, like, get sponsors, make ads, like, talk about it. Like, you can have her as one of the spokespersons to say, hey, I'm a wrestler, I'm this big girl, and I deal with mental health issues, just like you. Yeah. She can be like you don't understand. She can help another girl or help another boy that's in school, or another adult, mind you, a teacher, somebody. You could just say, hey, if she's dealing with it, she can, you know, try to, like, work around it or get help. I can do the same thing.
They've done that a little bit.
Make sense.
They
help
do
people.
Sometimes
like
with the Be a Star thing, you know what I mean? They'll have that kind of stuff and they'll use that kind of approach. But I think it's a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, they need to do something with how they need to put some therapy in place to help these people. Yeah. You know, it's the business hire anybody else. There's a lot. There's travel, the hours. There's a lot of stuff that just drains these people down, man, and just wears them out. And they need to have help in place for these people. We're gonna have a lot of, I don't know. That sucks. That's a sensitive subject and really difficult road to walk down and even talk about, because it's hard to speak on somebody else's mental health when you don't know really about it, you know. We're all making assumptions and implying things based on what we see, but we really don't know what anybody's going through unless they tell you themselves.
Exactly. So, but it's just not a good look for the company in general that she was dealing with that, and that was the reason that she was off TV, and then in turn you release her during her break. It's just not a good look at all. We got a couple of good comments here in the live chat. Vala B saying, I mean, if you're unvaxxed and don't seem like someone who could go to Saudi, like, I don't know. Kross, they won't push you. They can't put a belt on you because you're required to travel more and do Saudi. That's basically WWE's answer to people there. We also got here Easy Attack, Professor Chris from the NWA podcast saying, I am not sure if I believe any of these wrestlers got released because of not getting vaccinated. If Vince tells these wrestlers to do something, they typically do it.
But Vince isn't going to tell them that. He's not going to tell them that they have to get vaccinated, because that's that slippery, like forcing a mandate on these people. It's a political thing. He's not going to tell people that they have to do it right now because of what that would stir up politically and topically amongst the people right now. You know, so I mean,
true.
They probably heavily are saying, like, we suggest that you do this, but at the same time, that's not making it like a rule. You have to do it. He might be heavily leaning towards putting the idea in your head that's for the best that you do this. It's what we would like you to do, but they're not making them do it, and that's why this sucks. For that to be an issue and a reason, like I said before, for their termination or their release, but then it's not like a requirement technically, you know.
Yeah. It's crazy how they're skating the line, it seems, in a way, with this whole situation. The NW network says, just as we talk about everyone's mental health issues, it's the same with health issues in general. You never know what illness or issues mentally folks are battling. All our DNA is different. 100% correct there. yeah, like Cassidy was saying, I just echo the same thing. You never really know what the next person is going through unless they tell you what they're going through. So it's a very tough situation. And Nia Jax was self-aware in the way that I feel like John Moxley was with his issue, and that's why she took time away apparently. Yeah, and then for her to be let go in the middle of that, it just doesn't paint the company in the best light right now, especially when you look at it in comparison to AEW. It's not just, the on-screen product, it's how they're treating their performers now as well. That can become another factor for guys, because you got guys like I've been saying this and I'll echo it again. 3 of the last 6 NXT champions are no longer with the company. Adam Cole decided to leave and go to AEW. Karrion Kross got released. Keith Lee got released. So that's half of your last 6 NXT champions are gone from the company. And yes, this man is just standing right there, just waiting to greet them on their way out. And
is Paul back yet? Is Paul there? Like, when did he come back to work? I
don't know. I don't think so yet, as of yet, because when he comes back, it's like the Donald Glover coming in with the pizza and the whole room's on fire. That's him coming back to NXT.
So he's gonna come back. He's gonna be coming back to NXT. Okay.
Because Johnny Gargano, his contract is up at the end of this year. Kyle O'Reilly's contract is up in December. Kevin Steen's contract is up at the end of January. Like, this is some big names that now it's not just, oh, I think I can get used better over here.
Yeah.
I can get treated better over here. That becomes another factor that may lead to more people going to AEW or deciding to just go elsewhere in general.
Yo,
that's a good name.
That is so. I love this. Oh my god!
That's just perfect. I love our producer. Producer's always on point there. We got the Shadow Ringer saying we're at 71 wrestlers released from WWE this year. That's more than Impact's entire roster.
Yo,
that's insanity.
Impact. Most of those people can go to Impact and make Impact. They can bring back some light over there, I guess. I mean, Impact is doing okay right now, but they're probably like, "Hey guys, come over. We're open." When they got the Rick James and he got his arms open, like with Dave Chappelle. Come on, just like that.
Lead you. Come with me. Absolutely. Impact Wrestling is becoming a refuge for a lot of the WWE releases. Like, that's a place where they rehab their career and then they can either go somewhere else, or like Matt Cardona, who spends a little bit of time there and then is a deathmatch king on his spare time. So there's
Drew McIntyre is the best example of going to Impact and trying to turn your career around. I think Bobby Lashley did the same thing too for a little bit. They were there at the same time.
Absolutely. Christian's another one in the earliest version of it, basically.
Yeah, he was the first. He's the OG of that, actually. Yeah.
He's the OG.
Yeah.
OG, triple OG of Impact Rehab. But we are released Rehab here. Remember, drop a thumbs up on the video, share it with your friends. Of course, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Your comments in the live chat are coming in strong. Super chat donations are always appreciated. And we always try our best to highlight as many comments as possible. We got DJ Eric joining us, one of our good friends here, saying greetings, King SP3, Queen Krssi of True Hill Heat. He's now royalty. He's on his Kingwood status. We also got Godless Scummer saying, sad thing is that what's happened to ROH, another option for these wrestlers to go, has been removed. AEW can't sign everyone. That is definitely 100%
They're gonna be like WCW when they had all those people just there. And we don't want that to happen. We can't have that happen. I'm sorry. We can't hire everybody.
They can't put
Tony knows that too.
Right.
I think Tony understands that he can't hire everybody. He's got a little bit of he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. I think.
Yeah.
I think I'd say that now because he's done a pretty good job of being selective with who he brings in and when he brings them in. And one thing is too, like a lot of his contracts are coming up too. They got a lot of decisions to make internally with themselves because first of the year, I think, is those initial first three-year deals are all up, I think, starting at the beginning of this year. So you got a lot of people that you got to make a decision with is whether or not, like, all right, do you keep them around just because you had them to begin with? So there's a lot of fun, interesting discussions getting ready to get had about that. So a lot of people that just lost their job, even though it's a little crowded right now at AEW, it might not be so crowded in about 2 months, because we're getting in November now. So we've got this month, next month, then a lot of those contracts are up in January, just like you're talking about for some of these WWE guys too. So
yeah.
Who do you think might be one of the first to jump? I've asked this question to numerous people. So who's the first AEW guy you think that might go to WWE instead of the other way around?
I would think MJF is the one that's confident enough that he would think that he can overcome the stigma that would happen with them not letting him be him, and still work his way around it and still be able to, generate.
Be successful.
He'll find some success. I can see him filling the Miz role when Miz is off Dancing with the Stars or doing whatever else he's gonna do. I don't know how many more years Miz has, so they may want to fit that role for them, and MJF could.
I feel like I think Miz resigned recently, didn't he? Because
I believe he signed a 5-year last year.
Yeah, and then they got the TV deal going a lot, so I think he's not going anywhere. But yeah, I could see him fitting, but I just don't think MJF. I think MJF's teasing that just because he knows that it's just good business. It just gets people talking. He knows how to work the internet better than most of these people.
Yeah.
I don't see him going anywhere. He knows what would happen. I think he's smart enough to know what would happen. Like, look at what you just look at all the people that we just got released. How are you going to be like, I think they're not going to do that to me. It'll be different for me. It's not going to be different for you. To me, I think the one that fits the best would be like a Brian Cage. Somebody that's obviously not getting the treatment that he was in the company at the beginning. He seems to be, and his wife's very vocal about about his booking and situation. So I feel like he might be one of the ones.
Reminds me of Randy Orton's wife.
Right.
She talks a lot of shit too.
That's the next reality show, Wrestling Wives. There you go. You can have Randy Orton.
I would watch it.
Good. I would watch that.
I would watch it. Me too, Cassidy. That'd be so.
I would.
Well, we got to call Bravo or somebody, the Real Housewives of like the WWE, but it's gonna be on Peacock, and they're like the Peacock sisters, Bravo. So. Oh, we could book the shit out of. Oh man, I'm a housewife franchise person too.
There we go.
Damn, this would be good.
I love that good reality trashy TV. I love it. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. So I would totally be watching that every week.
We should book the shit out. Oh, we gotta
work on it. We gotta put it in the notes. Put it in the notes. Yes, so we need super chats and comments with titles for our reality show here, which is Wrestling Wives.
We gotta pitch it to them.
Yeah, we gotta pitch it. We gotta come up with the online.
I'm surprised why they haven't even gotten that yet.
While you guys are doing that, let's also talk about what we missed this week.
Another drink. Damn.
I'm gonna pitch that to Tony next week when I see him at the after party. I'll be like, hey, let me talk to you again, buddy.
Let me talk to you. I got an idea. The Real Wives of Jacksonville. It's it's Brandy, Jade.
Oh, wow. Oh, this would be so good. That would be.
It would be good. We just came up with the money idea. Money idea, ladies and gentlemen, live on here. True Hill.
They've done every Wives franchise. They've done Wags. They've done Girlfriend Basketball. We can get the wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be so. Because all of them are all friends too, anyway.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
It'd be like Total Divas, but like a little bit more fun. Not so.
Yes,
a little bit more. Yeah.
we got one super chat here from Vala B saying "Real Wives of the Square Circle." I like that.
Ooh,
that's actually pretty good one. We also got MW Network saying "Wrestling with Wives." I like that. That's not bad at all.
Girls trips and have a little and then some of the wrestlers, the husbands could come too sometimes. Oh my!
We got DJ Eric saying the Real Housewives of Professional Wrestlers. So keep it simple. Just say everything in the title. There we go.
PWs.
I like this one. Rebby needs to be involved.
Yes, he's definitely right. Godless Comer is definitely right. You definitely have to get Matt Hardy's wife involved. Absolutely. Yeah. She'd be the troublemaker.
She'd be the ring. That's who the show needs to be based around. She's the spearhead of this. And then
She's
just put people around.
she bring all the ladies around.
Ready.
Yeah, she's like the head. Oh,
Oh,
guys, okay,
man.
we're gonna have to fix this. Yeah, we got this. We got something. We got something here. We
We'll
got
just
something.
see. We'll DM Rebby here and later and be like, "Hey, did you hear our idea?" And she's gonna
Did you hear? We're gonna have our producer clip this, and this is our
Yes.
pitch. We're doing
This
a
is our
live
pitch,
audio
yes.
pitch. But since we're talking about Matt Hardy and AEW, we should talk about what we missed this week. AEW Rampage was last night. One of the best promo exchanges that I've seen all year, with CM Punk and Eddie Kingston having a face-to-face, leading to a pull-apart brawl following the challenge being made and accepted for Full Gear. You also had Adam Cole defeat John Silver in a very fun main event matchup. You also had Bryan Danielson defeat Anthony Bowens in a very good opener with Max Caster's awesome line saying that he kills careers quicker than your father-in-law does. That was just great. That was just great. Great stuff.
I had to actually. I was like, wait a minute. Who's his father-in-law again? I had to like sit there and Google it. I was like, oh shit, that's right, it's Johnny Ace. It took me a second. I was like, wait, who's he? Had to sit and that's good.
He should have hit the line with the voice. If he would have hit the line with the voice, everybody would have been like, oh yeah.
That missed opportunity not doing the Johnny Ace voice for sure.
See, we're coming up with pitches and we're improving. We're tweaking things here.
This is such good shit, pal.
Red Velvet also beat the Bunny to advance in the TBS Women's Championship tournament. Cassidy, what did you think about the Punk Kingston face-off going on? Because that was just compelling television to me.
It was everything I hoped it would be. Because I mean, Eddie Kingston's about the best you can get on a microphone, and Punk pretty much is the same way. So it's like when I knew they were going to have that confrontation in the ring, I was like, this is going to be just unbelievable mic work. And they did such a good job too of like making it feel real. I thought, just like the little things they did of like Eddie not coming out right away, and then like you have to talk more shit before he comes out, and then just the way they played off each other too with the comments and the stuff. I think they obviously they have a history, so it's like they can say some real shit and bring real life into it and not offend each other because they know how to make this angle and be really good. And two of the best at it last night, and that was just an awesome segment. I love wrestling pull aparts too. It's such a good thing to have, and you have to have them. You don't get enough of them in some places, but then sometimes they do too much, Yeah. And last night we were talking with the show that we did of they said they wish that Eddie and Punk didn't touch, that they had done a better job of actually keeping them apart to like build up the fact that they didn't actually get their hands on each other. But I kind of liked that they got them on there just enough. They got just enough like of conflict there to really show that there's some emotion behind it. And I love Punk screaming, "I'm gonna fucking kill you" at him at the end too. Like that was awesome. And I love that the camera like was showing his face. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." It's like, oh, they would have cut that away. Kevin Dunn would have hit the button 5 times to try to get it to somebody else doing that. So
you just would have heard his voice and cut away.
Yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm really looking forward to that match now next weekend. Like I'm low key, that's probably gonna be the most looked forward to match going into that show. I'm gonna be there, so I'm stoked about that, man. I love Eddie Kingston, and just to see him work Punk is. I didn't think that was something I wanted to see so quickly. You know what I mean? When I was like, you want Punk to work? What are your Punk dream matches? I never thought Eddie Kingston would have been one of the ones I was as excited for, but here we are, man. That's gonna be awesome next weekend.
All he needs is a face-to-face. Those face-to-face confrontations with Eddie Kingston, he just brings a level of realism and authenticity to it that no one else in wrestling does. Krssi, what did you think about the pull-apart brawl?
I didn't know I needed it until it was happening. You know what I'm saying? Just like, Cassie just says, like, I didn't think I wanted to see these two guys fight, and I'm like here for it. And like the exchange, the promo back and forth, I was like, oh, this is going somewhere. This is like some like it's like I feel like Kingston was talking from like the depths of his soul. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's on the corner outside in front of the bodega talking to CM Punk, like, nigga, like this is what's going to happen.
Waiting.
Like
it's like he's really been waiting 15 years to say this to him. That's what it felt like. It's like, he's really been waiting to say this since
he's
they
been harboring this for so long. Like
this
has been like tell me how you really feel about me. Like this is and that's what this is what I felt when I heard them two exchanging yesterday. And I mean, like I didn't even know that I wanted to see this match happen. So I'm very excited to see, this as one of the matches for next week. Yes, I think a little bit could have been like cut down a little bit. Like we didn't need all of it all at one time because we still have another. We still have Dynamite and
Another
Rampage
Rampage.
all next week. So give us a little bit more to like build up to Saturday. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, but I just loved it. It was just
Yeah,
it just
was
felt
great. It was good. Yeah.
It just felt like a real conversation between two guys that had some animosity that was never addressed before. I love Eddie talking about like all the pioneers that he looked up to, and then he just and I feel, and I said this on the review we did on Sportskeeda Wrestling, that it felt like everything Punk said is what Kingston told him to say. Because Eddie Kingston is like a self-deprecating type of guy. So I feel like everything Punk said was stuff that Kingston was like, no, you say this about me because this is really gonna get me heated. And then
heated up, yeah.
And then the fans reacted to him saying that nobody wants you here, Punk. Like he talked about his mother, like they were like, oh, like we all kind of thought it, but we never thought anybody would say it.
Yeah, we're thinking it.
That's great.
Oh, it was just awesome
So
stuff
good,
all
so
around. I can't wait for Full Gear for this matchup. Now we also had last night SmackDown, which sometimes could be on the other end of the spectrum. So there was some good and there was some bad. You had King Woods on the good with some new music. I'm happy for King Woods finally getting his own music, because if you remember, he had the Brodus Clay theme and then he had the New Day theme, which was all of them. This is his first solo theme, and he defeated Jimmy Uso in the main event, which he was supposed to bend the knee to the King, but he and Kofi Kingston were laid out by the Bloodline in the post match, and it seems to be building to Roman Reigns versus King Woods. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's I think we're gonna get. Drew McIntyre defeated Ricochet in a good match with an incredible Claymore in midair. That was just awesome, just a beautiful sight. But Krssi Luv, what do you think about King Woods and Roman Reigns potentially a Universal Championship match?
So when the show first started and they came out, I'm like, why does he have? Okay, first of all, they need to change the background, because if he's King Woods, why do we have them coming down like as in the Mario Kart? Like, make it make sense, friends. Like, hello, if he's King Woods and he's and Kofi is Sir Kofi, give me something that goes with the gimmick now, because this is the new gimmick now. He's king. He's the hand to the king. Put them okay. So then the night when the next ending of the match came, he had music, and I was like, why didn't you do this in the beginning? Like, did no one know that he had new music and they forgot to press play? I don't know. I don't understand like how that happened. But I'm loving it. I'm loving where this happens. I don't know if this is where the breakup of the two going to happen, but I'm loving the story of how he is King Woods and he's getting his shine, because like Big E's on Raw, he's getting his shine over here. Kofi had his little thing. Now it's time to have Xavier get this light, and I love that all of them are all friends where they let each other shine. So I'm loving that this with the Bloodline is really, it's a really good storyline. I didn't even know that I would be interested in seeing. And I love the exchange that Woods was like talking to them about. Like he said some little things that he dropped in there. Can't remember all of them per se, but it was some I was like, oh, we really going there.
I loved him calling Jimmy Uso James Uso and Jiminy Uso.
Is it James?
Jiminy.
Jiminy.
That was just great.
Those are really good.
Cass, I wanted to ask you, we had Ricochet with a really good matchup with Drew McIntyre. Do you think that Ricochet dodged a bullet by not being included on this name? Because that was him, and of course, not him for his talent, because we all know he's one of the most talented guys, one of the best high flyers in probably professional wrestling history. It's about how he's been used over the last couple of months, and he's a guy that's getting paid a lot. I think that's why people were surprised that he avoided the cut here. And of course, there's also on the other side of the spectrum someone that nobody really likes in Jackson Riker, who JTG had a great tweet saying that this guy learned. So you gotta just avoid the cell phone when you see it's from Connecticut. Don't pick up, don't answer. Cass, so what do you think about Ricochet with the good match here, and what do you think about him in the future in WWE?
Ricochet always has good matches. So I mean, that isn't. I mean, nobody would have ever thought anything otherwise with him. But yeah, he is one of those guys. It's like God, like you would expect that to fall into that like on the bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want it. I like it. I think he's great. I think you need somebody like him on the roster because. I mean, like last night, who else could have taken that spot of the Claymore in the middle of the moonsault and pulled it off with the timing and make it look like that? So, I mean, his value is tremendous. But yeah, and like that was the best I heard him on the mic in a long time too last night.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had somebody send me. It was either a DM or they tagged me last night. They said the same thing, like, "Oh shit, that's the best I've heard Ricochet on the mic in months and months. I fully expect him to get cut now next week." And I was like,
maybe he was that good because he doesn't want to get cut, and he was like, you know what? Maybe I should just like learn from the list of people that has just been released. Let me try to step my game up a little bit.
He talked like he had a little confidence in his stuff. Like I dodged a bullet today, so I'm gonna go out there and perform. So I'm happy for him. I hope that he does have success and that you have a place for him moving forward. A couple of comments we should highlight here. We got I think the winner from what I'm seeing from the reactions to this, MW Network with Married to Wrestling might be the name
Married
of
to
our
Medicine already. So we got Married to Wrestling. Oh my God, it's so bro. Andy Cohen needs to call me ASAP now.
Vala B saying that's great. He also says Married to Wrestling is a winner. We got Bill's Mafia, STF saying pitch it to Warner Media. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. We also got. He said this was so good. He also says a DJ Eric saying married to a wrestler. I like Married to Wrestling.
I like that one sounds like this the movie to Married to
Married to a wrestler with the dots and everything. We also got Frantic World.
Oh, what you could be a girlfriend like Carmella.
There you go.
Oh, wait, we can get his ex-wife on. Oh, this is gonna be so good.
Oh my God, you're going in now. Frantic World saying Matchcaster was the best last night. We also got MW Network saying Punk and Kingston should be long-term rivals in AEW. They had the best promo clash in the last 5 to 10 years. I said it. With a little bassy voice. I love it.
Right.
I agree with that as far as like long-term there. And I think that like I think they set that up with what Kingston said in the promo too, that this is going to be just, we'll probably see the match here and we'll come back to it later. And I don't think he's going to give Punk his first loss this time. I don't think he's going to be the one that beats him right now. But because he said, I don't care about wins and losses, I just want to fight you. I think that's going to be the how that match plays out. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be about wins and losses. But I see that when Eddie, I think eventually we're going to have to get Eddie a world title, even if it's just a short run. You know what I mean? Because why not make it? He comes back and takes that belt off Punk later. And you reference this moment of this fight too, where he said, last time we wrestled, it wasn't about the wins and losses. It was just about fighting you and kicking your ass. But now I'm going to take your fucking belt. So you can, the way they have these arcs and storylines that go for so long that this could just easily, like you said, easily set up a very long program that culminates with something great, like Eddie getting the belt off of a CM Punk. And then like how validating and, would that title victory and run be if he took it off somebody like CM Punk and not just Eddie Kingston beating a Cody, you know what I mean? Or somebody random for a belt, you beat somebody like that. And now there's more to it. There's such this, like they set this storyline up. There's so much realness.
So much you can do to this
last night that you can do from here. And Tony's good about that, man. He's got notebooks upon notebooks for just booking ideas, man. I've seen it with my eyes while we've hung out and talked at these parties and after parties. He carries the notebook around. He leaked the card got leaked because he was carrying his notebook around at a football game. I mean, that's the thing, man. So I mean, he's probably sat here and thought about stuff like this too. So I love that potential Eddie Kingston, CM Punk, real long-term storyline. I love that idea that somebody mentioned. I can't remember who mentioned it in the chat, but I was thinking the same thing when I saw it, and I actually almost jumped in earlier and pointed that out. But I'm with that guy.
MW Network was the one that said that. Also, another good one that I've been hearing a lot. Godless Scummer saying, "Can't wait until we get a Punk MJF feud." I really want to
Promos,
see
yeah.
those. I really want to see those two cut promos on each other. Yeah, and you got to do it in Chicago. You got to do the match in Chicago. Because that's the perfect place for MJF and CM Punk right there. That should bring us to talking about AEW Dynamite this week. They were down in the ratings, 878,000 viewers. Everybody's getting killed by the baseball playoffs, as well as
that's what I was going to say. Those numbers
that was from last week, right?
Yeah, they were down from last week.
Okay.
I was talking to another one of my buddies that does a website about that, and he was talking about the ratings and how they're going down. I was like, man, it's the World Series. And he was like, I don't think it's affecting it that much. I was like, dude, I'm not watching. I'm watching the World Series. I got my Braves hat on. I haven't watched wrestling in a week and a half, man. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, this is my job, and I'm not even watching wrestling. So imagine a casual fan. I'm like, dude, So, I mean, those numbers, like, you get that, like, I wouldn't hold those numbers too much to that, like in the last couple of weeks because of the World Series. But they'll be right back up where you expect it to be, you know.
Exactly, especially after the pay-per-view. Our producer coming in for a run-in, Romeo.
There was no baseball on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. It was Tuesday, and then we had Wednesday off, and then we went to.
I love how he just says it. He just pops in from the producer heaven and then leaves.
Wait a minute. No, we didn't have. Yeah, Wednesday was. Wednesday was an off night. Yeah, you're right. Because I should know. It's been a long week, man. It's been a long week.
Exactly. It's been a long week. You also had basketball though. Basketball, I know was on. I know was on. It just wasn't on TNT. And I was watching basketball at the same time watching wrestling. But yes, on Dynamite, you had Miro replace John Moxley to beat Orange Cassidy to advance to the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator to face Bryan Danielson at Full Gear. Andrade El Idolo defeated Cody Rhodes thanks to help from FTR. We also had Kenny Omega defeat Alan Five Angels. After the match, he was going to give him the one wing angel, but it was Hangman Page who chased off Omega to the back and said he has 10 days to hold on to the AEW World Championship. MJF cut another masterful promo to hype his match with Darby Allin and had a cool brawl until MJF ran away. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express returned to attack the Super Click with Christian giving Adam Cole the concerto and controversial Chris Jericho stand-up routine on Paige Van Sant as they set up Dan Lambert as the final member of American Top Team at Full Gear. Krssi Luv, what stood out the most for you on this episode of Dynamite this week?
Seeing Mero and Danielson. Didn't know I wanted to see it before. Again, another match. These guys worked, together, but I don't think they've ever fought each other. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think they only versed once in a gauntlet, and then that was it.
Doesn't matter. It happened neons ago, probably, so that's fine. But that stood out for me. And then Hangman after Omega, and giving him the countdown. Just gotta love this shit. Like all of this thing. Is Hangman win though? Don't know. I'm still like kind of understanding now. Like I still don't know if he has advantage to win. You know what I'm saying? Like I still feel like Omega still got this in the bag kind of. Maybe I got to see what happens on the next Dynamite.
We shall see next week.
I think they wanted you to have. I think that's what the plan is, because at first it seemed like everybody was like, "Oh, this is it. This is when Page is going to win." I mean, right? This is when Page is going to win. It's his pay-per-view. It's the pay-per-view named for him. It's the pay-per-view. Right, It's his pay-per-view. It's like The Rock winning the title at Rock Bottom for the first time, or D-Generation X winning the title at In Your House DX. It's pretty much the same thing here. And look, I mean, if you didn't know it before, where's Dynamite the next week? In Virginia. Come on, he's going home with the belt to be like, boom, So, I mean, the writing's on the wall for that. But they've done a good job of, like, at least planting some doubt. And maybe it's not going to work out the way that everybody thought. But I fully expect we're going to get Hangman to finally get the gold this next weekend and go back to Virginia as the, go home for the first time. His first appearance as champion in his home state. Definitely happening.
Yeah.
So we got the last time Bryan Danielson and Miroverse was on the May 8th, 2018 in a men's Money in the Bank qualifying match. Thank you for that, DJ Eric.
Right. Wow. Look at you right on the money.
I believe it was Rusev. Rusev won that one.
I think so too. I think he stomped. He did the clutch or whatever.
Yeah.
The accolade or whatever it was called. Yeah, if I remember that right.
I believe I forget who Danielson versed at Money in the Bank 2018. I believe it was Big Cass, if I'm not mistaken. But it tells you how far back that was. But speaking of Miro and him replacing Jon Moxley on AEW Dynamite, we should bring up Jon Moxley, like we said earlier, was pulled from the show following entering himself into an inpatient alcohol treatment program. Tony Khan posted to Twitter on Tuesday night to announce that Moxley has allowed him to share that the former AEW World Champion has entered into the program. He said, and I quote, "Jon Moxley has allowed me to share with you that he is entering an inpatient alcohol treatment program. Jon is a beloved member of the AEW family. We all stand with him and Renee and all of his family and friends as he shifts his focus to recovery. Jon is making a very brave choice to get help, and we're embracing his choice, supporting him however we can. I'm proud to call Jon a friend, and like many of you, I'm also a fan of Mox and look forward to a time in the future when he is eventually ready to return to the ring. Until then, thank you for supporting Jon and respecting his privacy at this time." And he says, if you or a loved one need help, please reach out to the HSA's national helpline 1-800-662-662-HELP. So
that's beautiful.
It was very nice, and we send our thoughts and our prayers to Jon and his family, that they deal with the situation very well. Best wishes to him on his journey right now. And what did you guys think about how AEW handled the whole situation on Wednesday night?
I thought they did great. Like I said before, usually they, these types of things, when it happens, like we know about it, in the wrestling industry, in media business, we hear about what's really going on, but they don't usually address things publicly like that, speak about it publicly. And like we just talked about mental health and how important that is. I think them actually addressing it it goes a long way as far as to saying how they are handling that aspect of the business now too, compared to WWE, as far as like, well, we're just not going to talk about it. You can go to handle it, but we're not going to talk about it. And honestly, so when I was in Atlantic City at the beginning of the month last month, I hung out and drank with Moxley and everybody all night. Like we were out all night, like not all night because it was pretty early when he went to bed, but I could see then I was like, man, he's drunk, like he was partying hard, and we had to get somebody to take it. He was so drunk, they had to walk him back to the room that night. So like, this is the night before his match with Gage.
Wow.
Like you drink like that, I have like the ill hangover. Like I don't even want to go nowhere. I want to stay in my bed all day.
He probably didn't even, you know what I mean? If you had people, because I have had battles with alcohol in my past, and when you get to that point, you don't even get a hangover the next day. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just like you can just, if you have an alcohol problem, you're really drinking.
You're immune to it.
You're kind of immune to it. Yeah, you don't even feel the hangover like most people would. It'd just be like, oh, it's just another morning. But
wow.
Yeah, we got to hang out, and I really hope he gets help he needs. He's a good dude, man. He was awesome. We sat and talked for hours that night. He was telling all types of good stories in the back with the boys. It was when I was filming Chops episodes. I was in the back doing that. I filmed a couple earlier, and then when I came back inside or whatever, everybody was just sitting around, and we just sat there and hung out and talked and chilled for hours. So yeah, I got to. That was the first time I'd actually hung out with him and met him, and actually spoke to him more than just like, hey, how's it going in passing? Because I've interviewed him at media scrums and stuff before, and we've seen each other at the at the hotel and stuff. But to actually sit down and talk, that was the first time we've done that. So I really hope he gets what the help he needs, and I'm pulling for him, man. Like it's the first step is always to like admit that you have a problem and to like seek the help. So like that's the fact that he knows and he's wanting to do it. You kind of think that like it's going to work, because usually it doesn't work when they're forced to go against their will and it's not a decision that they wanted to make. As somebody like my ex-fiance, when we were together, she had a battle with alcoholism. I took her to rehab 5 times while we were together for 6 years. And she never wanted to go. Every time it was like, she's doing this because I want her to go. She didn't want to go. She was just doing it to appease me. And it wasn't like I was making her go. It was just, she was just like, well, I'm just going to do this to shut this fucking argument up,
Yeah.
So
Right,
and
right,
I could
right.
see that. And I'm like, I hope it sticks this time, but I didn't think it was going to because she wasn't wanting the help. And so with, reading everything that was said, it seemed like it was his decision, as a family and talking with Renee and everybody else. So, I hope it works and I hope it helps. I really do. And I think it will, as long as, he wants it. And it seems like he does. So,
Yeah, probably it's a very brave choice to make, especially when you have everything going on, a new book, a new baby, a daughter. You got you're in a big program coming up at the pay-per-view. So he made the choice because he knew he needed to address it at this moment, and it's such a brave choice. So I think that's why we're seeing such an outpouring of support.
In the middle of what he was in the middle of such a big program too. I mean, he was, you know what I mean? Like to not put it off, not be like, oh, we'll just wait till after the pay-per-view. We'll wait 3 more weeks, you know what I mean? Or 4, and then we'll handle it then, because, a lot can happen at that time too. So like, no, it says a lot to be like, no, we need to handle this now. We need to address it now, despite everything that we're in the middle of too. So yeah, it's very brave and it's a very responsible thing to do, and it puts the company in a shitty spot, but like, obviously you see Tony supporting it, and he's obviously not. Yeah. I mean, it's inconvenient, but for storytelling purposes, but that's not what this is all about. And then, they're AEW. I spend a lot of time with these guys. Like, I go down there and hang out and do shows a lot and cover stuff down there. Cause, I went to Jacksonville 6 times this summer before to do Dynamite and stuff before they went on the road, just this year alone. So, like I go, the environment there, it's very, family. It's like a family. It really is. Like, everybody gets along. You don't get a lot of infighting. I mean, there's been reports of it, like amongst the CEOs and stuff. That's different. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't really call it infighting. It's, people are you're gonna clash heads, especially when you're good friends. You know what I mean? So that's a little different. But as far as the environment with AEW, like, everybody's very supportive of everybody else. Everybody gets along. Everybody are friends. So yeah, I think he's got a good support system there, and I think this is the best place for him to be when he's made this decision to get help is with AEW. I mean, imagine if he had tried to get help when he was with WWE, how weird and how hard that would have been for him to deal with, right?
Weird is the best word for it.
Yes.
Because it's obviously something that should be handled and addressed, but yet how are they going to allow you to do it? Or, you can't even get time off to get married if you're CM Punk. So how are you going to get time off to go to, a program? So no, I think he's in the best place. It is the best place in his career for seeking help. So
very, very brave decision, and all of us are thinking about Moxley right now and support him what he's doing. We also, what we missed from the week was WWE NXT 2.0. They did 631,000 viewers. They also were up against the baseball playoffs as well as the NBA. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams defeated Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis in the main event, which followed up from Carmelo confronting NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, as well as Gargano having a brief stare down with his former partner. Toxic Attraction took out Zoe Stark, which post-wrestling reports was to write her out of action with a real injury. And it seems to start a program between Mandy Rhodes and Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Krssi Luv, we know you joined us on the watch along a few weeks ago for Ladies Night for NXT 2.0. How is your viewing of 2.0 so far since then?
I don't like it, friend. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. Right now, NXT 2.0 usually is on as background music to me, to be honest. Like, I'm fixing the stuff for the next day. Like, it's on, but I'm not really like in tune or paying it any mind, to be honest, if that makes sense. Like, if someone like interested come on, oh, okay, let me check this out. Like, what's this guy named Chase with the red sweater?
Andre Chase. Yes.
Yeah, my man.
Funny.
That's a Carolina boy. That's Harlem.
I like that. I want a sweatshirt. I need one of those. I like him. He's interesting. I think that's very funny. But also, like, he gets heat too. So I think that's a good part. The Io and Mandy, didn't know I wanted to see it. Let me see what Mandy can do, because she hasn't been given much time to, showcase. So I want to see what she can do. And I'm sure she and Io can be one person that can help her or, like, get her over or whatever. I think that would be great to see. We're going to do Gargano and Ciampa again. okay, sure. You're gonna, they're gonna give us a great match, I'm sure. Maybe they'll give Johnny.
But I don't know why it was called One Final Beat then last year. If they're gonna do that, they're getting around it. They're skating because they were in a fatal 4-way together as well since then. So they're skating around it. It's just one-on-one. We'll never see it again. That's what they
exactly. So let's see what happens. But I'm loving the chase. I want a sweatshirt. I really I think he's one of like the good things in NXT. And then I like the poker match that they had. Is that
with Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes?
I thought that was cute and funny, but then everything else I really was like, meh. I didn't really pay it no mind. Sorry.
Who's the guy you're looking at from 2.0 so far, Cass?
I like everything she said there because she just put over two of my local guys down here, man. Two people I grew up watching come up. So yeah, anytime you put Cameron Grimes over or Andre Chase, I'm all about it. But no, and I wasn't a Grimes fan at first. SP made me. He was like, no, Chris, give him a chance. He's great. He's good. And I'm like, okay, I gave him a chance, and he's one of my favorite things. I've been able to see him since his CWF Mid-Atlantic, Burlington, North Carolina shows, man. He's somebody I've grown up or been watched as his career's grown up. So I'm really happy with what he's doing in NXT. He's probably my favorite part, honestly. Every week, Cameron Grimes, he's great. I'm biased. My bias always shows too, especially when I do predictions and stuff, because it's like people that I know are kind of are familiar with or new into that, and he did that too. I love Cameron Grimes, man. Local boy, man. I support North Carolina. I haven't really been paying attention like I should. Like you said, it's been background noise for me on Tuesday. And this week, baseball actually on this week. Right, it was. Exactly. So I was watching sports and Housewives. Yeah. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I actually was watching baseball on Tuesday instead. But I like Braun Breaker, even though the name is fucking horrible. I'm a big fan of him. Trash. Yeah, I liked him. I mean, I was a fan of him when he played football at Kennesaw State because that's like I was born in Marietta. My dad went to Kennesaw State University where he went to. So like they're right I'm from. So I'm biased towards that as well. But yeah, he's great, man. I like it. And speaking of Andre Chase, so I don't know, did you guys know that he was the stunt double for CM Punk in Heels? He was like the body stunt double. I did not know that. Mm-hmm. Him and Caleb Conley. Yes. Yeah.
I did see him a couple of times when they were doing like wrestling spots. I was like, oh, that's Caleb with a K.
I saw them right when the episode came out. They both posted something on either Instagram or their Facebook where they were like the CM Punk slick black hair and then the black trunks or whatever, doing a lot of the wrestling double spots for him there because. Even though, I mean, like, have you ever seen how hard it is to do wrestling TV to like film that? Like those guys, it's like that match. You watch that match, like, why would Punk need somebody to do body double work or it's like stunt work for him? Because that match wasn't much, but there's probably 70 takes, for some of those things, just the simple things over and over and over and over and over again. So I think Chavo said that talking about Glow and all those when he comes in that like filming for TV wrestling is for a TV show is just nothing like what you would do normally. So. Yeah, I like that he was seeing Punk's body double. So I'm always going to put over stuff like that. North Carolina guys, baby, give them a little shine.
So, that's how my wife came up with the name of my daughter, Harlem Bravado. It wasn't because of where I live. It was because of the wrestling.
Fantastic. Him and Lancelot too. They were a great tag team, man.
Yes,
they were big PWX down here in Charlotte. So I've been very familiar with their work for many, many, many years, man.
I knew of them from the old ROH days and then into Evolve. That's when I was still following what he was doing.
They're good, man.
We also missed WWE Raw, which did 1.69 million viewers this week. Big E defeated Kevin Owens in a first-time matchup after KO said he wouldn't take help from Seth Rollins. He saw Rollins punch E and still went for the cover, but E rolled him up instead. And then after realizing what happened, gave Owens the big ending to end the show. And Becky Lynch defeated Bianca Belair in a great encounter thanks to an exposed turnbuckle. And Becky Lynch, I think it's still supposed to be a heel. I'm still not sure, but Krssi,
I don't know what she is, to be honest. I
The-
can't
She's
really
supposed
tell.
to be.
she's
To be a
supposed
heel.
to be, but
She's
it's
supposed to
not
be, but she's
working.
still over.
She doesn't cut
Yeah.
promos like a heel. She wrestles like a heel. I'll give her that. She's trying to
Yeah.
wrestle like a heel, but it's just these fans don't want to boo you. These fans
They
just
want
want
to
to
cheer
cheer.
you. And
And
they
it's
should
just-
know that by now.
I
Yep.
mean, you'd think, but I mean, they did the same shit with Roman Reigns. It's like they wanted everybody to cheer Roman Reigns for years, and they booed him. And it's like, well, I don't understand it. And it's the same shit but different. You know what I mean? Like
I'm
they're
gonna
not
say, if
getting
he
the
still
reaction
get
they
cheered
want,
and they still
but
get
they're gonna
booed
keep
at the
trying.
same time.
They're gonna keep trying. Yeah.
They're gonna
I
keep
don't get it.
trying and trying. Impact on Access TV. They had W. Morrissey, Moose, and Minoru Suzuki defeat Eddie Edwards, Matt Cardona, and Josh Alexander in a 6-man main event. And then New Japan Pro Wrestling had an event this morning, the Power Struggle 2021. Shingo Takagi defeated Zack Sabre Jr. to retain the IWGP World Heavyweight
What?
Championship. Kazuka Okada defeated Tama Tonga to retain his right to challenge contract. So it's going to be Okada versus Shingo at
You have to
Wrestle
tell 'em
Kingdom
why
16.
that's on the screen.
Yes.
Friend.
So Cassidy, New Japan, I don't know if you've heard, they're bullying people and copyright strikes on YouTube and
Yeah.
on social media, and they copyright striked us twice for their fair use photos from their website that we used as thumbnails. So now we
What?
do stick figures. We do stick
I like
figure
it.
New Japan
I like
guys. So that was
I like
that
it.
was
That's great.
Shingo.
I was wondering what
That's
was up with
Shingo.
that, but I like it.
See,
That's
you got
Shingo.
to
I see it.
him.
Now I see it. I can totally see it now. That's...
He was like, I'm not understanding what's going on the screen.
Well, at
And then
first I did it, but then when I saw Okada, I'm like, I get it now. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
Okada.
uncanny. You nailed it. That looks just like him.
I know, like he got the nose structure and everything. We also had Kenta beat Hiroshi Tanahashi to win the IWGP United States Championship. El Desperado defeated Robbie Eagles to become a 2-time IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion as well. And that leads us to our news rundown. Remember, if you haven't already, drop a thumbs up on this video. Keep putting your thoughts in the live chat. We love to hear from you guys live. Super chat donations are always appreciated. We have a question here from Frantic World. He says, is New Japan bringing back the old world title? Okada has the IWGP Heavyweight Championship as his right to challenge contract. Instead of the briefcase that most winners of the G1 have, he's using that as the symbol of it. So I think that's what it's going to lead to, is heavyweight champion versus world heavyweight champion with Okada and Shingo on January 4th, which is just the first night of 3 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, which should be interesting. We have a super chat donation here from Vala B saying Okada versus Tama and Shingo versus ZSJ slapped hard. Go out of your way to watch those matches. Also, Okada versus Buddy Matthews at Battle in the Valley. So that was announced as well. So that's gonna be huge. I can't wait for that. I want to see Okada back in the United States, and I want to see Okada back with the world title. So looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom and the rest from New Japan. But we got to move on to our news rundown. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had some WWE news reporting that WWE has been discussing changing what contracts are offered to new prospects signed to their NXT brand. It was noted that starting next year, the idea is that new talents, except the top prospects, will be given 60-day trial contracts. This will allow WWE to gauge their progress, and if they haven't improved in that time, they won't be signed to full-term deals. So this kind of makes sense to me, because you have guys like Trey Baxter, who was signed this year, released. You got Frankie Monet, Alex Zane, who were signed this year, then released.
Henry.
It's ridiculous the amount of talent that they did this with, and why they're just now thinking of this type of thing. But do you view this, Cassidy, as more like them moving towards a direction that causes them to not release so much talent as once?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good decision to make, especially like Anthony Henry pointed out, like, because they offer you a bonus when you move. If you move to Orlando, they give you a signing, like it's like a signing bonus if you'll move down there. But they don't do anything when you get released and you have to pack up and leave again. You know what I mean? These
That's
people-
now that was my question is like, do they get unemployment now? Like, what what can I get now? So I just have no money.
Shit. They don't do shit to help them when they're gone, but they'll like I said, they'll tempt them to come down and like, hey, move to Orlando. It's better for us if you live here. Here's a signing bonus if you do it. So these people will uproot their family or move. If they have a family, move down here, and then 3 months later,
I can never. No. Oh my god.
So
like
this, you know, it sounds like when you hear it at first, like, oh, I mean, why would you do that? That sounds it makes sense because you're going to avoid these situations. You know what I mean? To where like you don't pay somebody to move to Orlando just to fire them 3 months later. Then now they're just, you know, uprooted and left without knowing what to do and have to, you know, start all over again. So
yeah,
it's more fair. It's fair. It's a fair thing to do. But at the same time, the other side of it is like, why would you have to do that? Didn't you do enough due diligence on of who you were signing in the first place to know what you were buying or what you're getting? You know what I mean? Like if I go buy a TV, I research it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you buy a car, there's always a trial period, but you probably do a little research into what you're going to buy or what you're picking up so that you know what you're getting when you have it. And it almost feels like they're not doing enough to where it's like, you know, they have an idea of what they've signed, but they don't know until they get there. Like, how is that possible to me? But I think it's better. I think in the long run, this is going to be a better way to do it, just because you don't end up screwing over people like they did with Anthony Henry, Alex Zane, Trey Baxter, all these guys that, you know, packed up to go live the dream. And this is what they've wanted their whole life. And they moved to Florida just to get shit canned 3 months later. And now, you know, you just left your home for however long you've been there. You know what I mean? Just packed up everything to be there. And then you're just stuck without it. So no, it's a better decision. I think that's going to be a good business model to go forward with, I think, for the WWE, is to do this little trial run, you know.
Yeah,
it sounds shitty,
sense.
You know what I mean?
It does make a lot of sense. It'll save people more time and, you know,
less heartache basically from.
But that's you've made a good point and told, like, I'm like, you know, what happens when these people are released? Like, do you give me the remainder of what's in my contract, or do you give me my money up front? Like, what happens directly?
You get paid through your non-compete, and then once your non-compete's up, you're gone. You're done. So they, like, you know, you'll get paid whatever you were getting paid based on your contract through that non-compete. So it's not like, you know, your money cuts off that day, but it is, you know, 30 days. I got 30 more days of money coming in, so I got 4 more weeks or whatever before I have to figure out what to do, or 90 days if you're one of the main roster people. But yeah, that's all they do is they pay out your non-compete through that, and then that's it. There's no like severance to like, here, since we paid you to come in, we'll pay you to leave. That's not how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Nope. Not gonna help you. Not gonna help you move out of Orlando afterwards. Nope.
I hope these people have enough money.
Yeah, they have to use the money. Yeah, they have to use the money to move out of Orlando that they are pretty much relying on to get them by until they can get work again. You know.
Yeah.
Because they can't work anywhere really for 30 days or 90 days to make any money.
Right.
So
yeah. That's the next thing. Oh my God.
Yeah. They're having to coast off of what they're making until they can be free to go work. But then half these people are having to use that just to get out of Orlando, because why would you be there now
if you don't need to be there? Yeah.
If you don't need to be there, you know?
Exactly. It's crazy.
And crazy. Get rid of most of their account, like their Twitch accounts and everything, where they was making a little bit of, oh my God. That's
it's a crazy web that WWE gets people in sometimes. Speaking inside that WWE web, the Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that the reason Charlotte Flair wasn't punished for going off script on SmackDown 2 weeks ago and causing the incident is because of the tricky situation involving her. A source said Charlotte is a tricky situation, not just because she's a star in a division with very few stars, but because she's not the only guilty party. Discipline her and you have to discipline quite a few people. So that was an interesting, a vague but very interesting and intriguing report there. What do you think it has anything to do with there, Cass?
Yeah, that's, you know, you can't make an example out of one person without, you know, like I said, you know, to punish her or reprimand her, you're going to have to do it to other people that have similar things that they do, you know what I mean, backstage or whatever. So yeah, I mean, I think she's obviously she knows her situation and her place, and she's kind of taking advantage of that in a way too, because she knows like they don't have many stars. What are they going to do? You know what I mean? If they let me go, that's cool, probably, because I can go get work somewhere else easily. You know what I mean? I don't think she's worried about it. You know what I mean? Obviously, she's got a place waiting for her if they did release her, you know, or let her go. But, you know, I think they don't want to do that either, because they know that that's like, that is their women's division, you know?
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, that's their star. That's their cornerstone of that division, and they don't want
That's what Fox
to
wanted.
lose that.
They can't do
That's
that.
what the networks want it, and that they can't let that go. They're afraid to do that, so they kind of have to.
Even though she wasn't on TV yesterday.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't. She wasn't. They took off Roman 2 weeks ago and then took off Charlotte this week. So they're splitting out.
Charlotte or Sasha wasn't there. They were not on TV.
It was just Shotzi with the interview to build up the heel turn from last week, which didn't connect with me.
Phenomenal. She looked great.
She looked great, but it didn't connect with me. It felt very forced. When you have a likable baby face, you shouldn't make them try to be a heel. It's just common sense. I don't get it.
Like, how do you
and
bring
the way
her
they
on
did
here?
it, it didn't make sense too. What they had her say didn't make sense too. It's like, oh, you know, I lost my tag partner, and then now I lost this and that, and well, that's not she blamed it on the people, when obviously everybody knows that that's not what happened at all. So it's a forced, like you said, we're forcing her to be a heel, and it's everybody knows it's bullshit. You know, I mean, like everybody's like, "Why? We were cheering her last week. Why are we supposed to boo her now?" You know, it's the Becky thing all over again. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what you tell them to say. You know, I mean,
if they're not reading the room, they can't sound logical when they're bringing stuff up. Like the whole crowd was cheering for her. How can you say you lost the appreciation of the fans?
It's because they. What I hate about WWE is when they're going out and they're looking for people to sign, right? They're on the indies and they see these people that make a name for themselves, turn themselves into a star based on like, oh, they're great mic skills, all their in-ring work. And then they sign them and it's like, okay, all that stuff you used to do, we're not going to do it anymore. You can't do these moves. You got to wrestle like this. So it's like, well, why did you sign this person anyway? If you liked what they did, then you bring them in, you change up like their entire moveset, their wrestling style. They do the same thing with their personalities and their ability on the mic. All these people that could cut promos and get over on their own by expressing what they need to do in the promo, you know, organically, they don't get a chance to do that. They get these, you know, printed, scripted, like this is what you're going to say. And when the crowd is not buying it, they don't have the freedom to like improvise and like try to work it to make it make sense. So that's why you get these things. It's like, all right, what they're saying is just, the crowd's not buying it. It's not, they can't go and fix it because they're not allowed to.
Yep.
It sucks, man. And like AEW is different. They're, you know, they're not really given a script and told. They're like, they probably get told like, here's what I want the point
to
of
look
this
like
promo to be like, here's the high points. This is what we need to have happen. Whatever you say needs to accomplish this goal.
This type of feeling.
Go out there and do it. Yeah. Go out there and do it. Cause you know, the reason you got the name that we signed you on is because you were able to do all these things. So just go and fucking do it. I think it would be so much better if WWE let like somebody like Shotzi be like, okay, well, we're going to have you do a heel turn. Here's what we need you to have happen in this promo. Go do it, you know, and go say something and try to do it organically on our own. You know, build off the crowd. If the crowd starts not liking what you're saying, fucking win them back, you know what I mean? But they're not allowed to. They're not allowed to go off script. They're not allowed to improvise or show any of their own personality. It's just like what this person tells them to say, do it.
Yeah, that promo was just really rough because it felt like not only were they telling her what to say, they were telling her how to feel. What emotion they wanted out of her, and that's why it came off really forced to me. The last WWE news note is a long one. It's about Bray Wyatt. After multiple reports in regards to Bray Wyatt and his WWE departure having been disputed, Fightful asked for more on the situation this week, and the creative team apparently had been told this past summer that Bray Wyatt had been cleared and that he'd be returning to the company prior to his release. He was seen at a few post-Mania episodes of WWE Raw, and we're told he and Randy Orton, among others involved in the WrestleMania match, were not happy with the creative direction or outcome of the match, which changed 2 days before the show. At one point, Fightful was told that there was never a true creative end game for that story that went on for 6 months. Initially, after that match, Orton was supposed to take time off, but it was Wyatt who ended up getting time away, while Orton remained and began a team with Riddle for RK Bro. In addition, Fightful was heard of WWE superstars that actually approached Orton and Wyatt, saying that they felt bad that the WrestleMania match was getting changed, and there was numerous people backstage who said that Wyatt was outspoken when he thought creative was bad, and by the end, some felt Vince McMahon just didn't like him due to that. Creative was also told about some major frustration around the Burn Fiend angle from last year, specifically the size and weight and movement of the suit. Though Wyatt hasn't confirmed this himself, the creative team was told that he believed it was too heavy and was going to look bad and it would be difficult to move inside it, so it was scrapped. Talent was told that Wyatt's release was a budget cut. Fightful don't know is that it was specifically cited to Wyatt. If it was specifically cited to Wyatt himself, this created a giant amount of frustration with the roster, staff, and employees alike, with nearly 20 reaching out to Fightful directly after the release, saying that had been more to it than that, considering that he's known as a money maker in the company. So, Krssi, I'll ask you first. What do you think about this whole little confusion with now Bray Wyatt being outspoken as one of the reasons why he's let go, and Vince McMahon not liking him because of that?
Because he came to you with a character, and then you try to change. Well, you changed it and made it look like something that I didn't create. You know, like the whole big burn suit. Like, we knew that shit was garbage. Like, we knew, like, even when you went to go burn him, like, we already knew that wasn't him. And then two, when you brought him back, and then he has this big outfit. Like, how are fans supposed to receive that, sir? He's only telling you what we're going to do, what we're going to say and do. And no one liked it. Everyone had their feelings on it. There was no one that wanted to, like, you had something that was so good and so the whole thing of the fun house, everything was good and pure about it. And then you try to make it your own because you didn't create it, and you failed miserably. And then when you fail, you want to get rid of the people that try to tell you, hey, don't do this. And that
because they didn't get over your bad creative idea, basically.
Thank you. And we're trying to tell you, hey, maybe that's not a good idea. I don't think maybe it should go in this direction. So you mean to tell me this whole buildup with this story with him and Randy Orton, they changed it 2 days before Mania, and this is why we got that product of that shit show? It looks like it was 2 days ago. Matter of fact, it looks like it was only 10 minutes before they went out there. At least that's how I received it. Because everybody's like, what the hell? Yeah. Thank you.
How often do we hear them write a script and then is before the day of the show, it gets ripped up and then done again? So
and mind you, these people have been rehearsing this and doing this for how many? You've had this whole thing. We had this thing down pat, and then 2 days or the night before. Oh no, we're gonna go in this direction. What? Why? Does that make sense?
And then how hard do you think that is for the writers? Yeah. Could you imagine being a writer trying to write such a storyline involving somebody like Bray Wyatt? It's got to be followed, and it's got to go where it needs to go. And then they can't plan more than 1 week ahead because here's what we wrote. We turn it in, it gets ripped up, and then write this instead. And that doesn't go with what they had planned, So then they have to figure out how to take what we actually have to do tonight and make it make sense with what we did last week and where we want it to go next week. And then it might not even be next week. You're going to have the same thing happen. What sucks, man. It's one of those things where like a writer can write something and it's going to be great, and then they have no idea if it's even going to get used. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I here for? Why am I writing this?
Why am I writing this for you? Why am I wasting my time? I give you my good thoughts and putting these things together if you're not even going to use them.
how much simple? Why the way I just don't understand with the way we hear this every week. You know what I mean? It's like we have all these scripts written and they get shredded up at the day of and then rewritten because Vince wants it done this way. Why doesn't Vince just tell you, "Here's what I want you to do. Write this."
Yes.
And it's like he doesn't do that. It's like he expects these people to know what he wants and things, and then just
tell me what you want and I can write it.
Tell me what you want and we'll write it. And that way we can plan more than maybe 1 or 2 weeks down the road, and maybe these storylines can make sense. So we're not just flying on the seat of by the seat of our pants and making shit up as we go. And the reason that nothing seems to be connected and make sense is because nothing's connected and nothing makes sense. And that's what we get. You know, it sucks, man. And like you said, it all comes down to making money, and like that, and that's another excuse. Like Bray Wyatt made money; all of his shit was making money. So, how is that? That just shows that when they give you these excuses, that it's excuses. And I think it has a lot to do with him being vocal about not liking what was going on. Like you said, the creative, him not liking creative, him not having an opinion that didn't sit well with him. They contradicted what Vince wanted, and it's going to stir up shit backstage. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for them, it's a business again. You know, so if you got somebody that's ruffling everybody's feathers and rocking the boat, get rid of them. You know what I mean? And
out of here.
That's kind of what happened. It looks like. And did you see him comment on was it Ringside News' report?
Yes, saying we got Johnny and Bruce's opinion now.
So that looks like, I mean, that's not him denying their report at all. That's him to me being like, I know exactly who said that. That's as much of a confirmation that you could get is to when they read a report, him being like, boom, those are the two people that said that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you get stuff like that going on in the back, and it's just it's a weird environment back there to where like they want people to voice opinions, but at the same time they don't, as long as you don't. It's like, yeah, you can speak your mind and voice your opinion as long as you don't rock the boat or go against what we want to happen, which is not really how that works,
Yeah, it's either one or the other.
Yeah. So yeah, it sucks, man. That we've seen a lot this year, I think, that's pulled the let everybody see how the inner workings of things go, with all these mass cuts and then the bullshit excuses we get, which obviously nobody's buying. And I don't know, man. Yeah, that Bray Wyatt stuff's weird, man. There's a lot there. There's a lot there too that people hadn't talked about yet. And I've heard a lot of stuff. And when it first got released, there was a lot of stuff I was hearing that I'm just not comfortable reporting on because it's personal things, his mental health stuff that he was talking about, things that, there's a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of moving parts with that one. And I think they just decided they cut their losses like they said in those reports. And he even acknowledged,
Yeah.
Sucks, man.
Romeo, you have something to add?
Oh, yeah. While this show was going on, Frankie Monet or Ty Valkyrie put up an interesting tweet. So I wanted to share with you guys.
Oh, yeah. Let's see it.
Let's see it. I'll say the hardest thing for me to process after being released is realizing the amount of people that lied to me. Some of y'all should be ashamed. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Kind of goes with what we were just saying a little bit too, right? That, they're told this. They get like, this is what we're told, and then they do that, and it ends up being complete lies. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how, So
and they just signed her in February. Like, she should have been like, she was the longest reigning Knockouts champion. Like, NXT wanted to boast her that they had the best women's division in all of wrestling, not just WWE, all of wrestling. So that's why they got Taya Valkyrie, because she was giving them something different. She wasn't the workweight beast that Io Shirai was, or the project that Raquel Gonzalez was, but she was a worker that could be a women's champion, could be a contender, could be in a feud with the Io Shirai and one of the top stars of the women's division. And they did jack shit with her. They basically tried out the girl that's with Legado del Fantasma now, Elektra Lopez. They did a tryout match for her against Talia. They did another squash match, and then she lost her third match, which was a tag team match, and she was already with the Robert Stone brand by then, which is the Death Nail. If you know Chelsea Green, you know the Robert Stone brand is the death nail of her time in WWE. So it got to be the death nail for everybody else. Aaliyah went through that, and the best they could do for Aaliyah was just talking to Sami Zayn backstage on SmackDown since she's been called up. Yeah, it's insanity, right? Like Taya Valkyrie, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Nia Jax. Really, y'all can't do. If you would have told me
nothing, none of those people, none.
If you would have told me in January that Nia Jax and Braun Strowman wouldn't have a job with WWE in November, I would have called you a damn liar. That's a damn liar. But we're gonna find out what everybody here thinks where the 18 superstars are going to go next, whether it's the independent scene or a promotion. Just a couple of other news notes before we do that. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had AEW news reporting that Moxley was originally set to defeat Orange Cassidy on Dynamite, as Miro did, and face Danielson at Full Gear, as we saw from the infamous Tony Khan notepad picture. New Japan Pro Wrestling news, Fightful reported on Wednesday that Juice Robinson's New Japan contract expires at the end of January in 2022, which leaves him. Oh my God, that's awesome! That's an awesome Juice stick figure. Which leaves him with just under 3 months left on his deal.
Wow.
Robinson signed a multi-year deal with New Japan Pro Wrestling in early 2019, as he was also scheduled to appear for Ring of Honor at that time. He's been appearing on Impact Wrestling as of late as well. Despite the pandemic, Robinson still worked almost 36 dates overseas in Japan during that time period. And in addition to helping spearhead the New Japan Strong brand here in the U.S., Fightful did not hear if any negotiations between the two sides had started, but Fightful did hear from one promoted that said they expected Robinson to get multiple offers from around the world. And then our final news note, GCW stars Effie and AJ Gray were both at this week's set of ROH TV tapings. Fightful reported on Thursday that both men were contacted shortly before the announcement that the company would be going on a break and releasing all their talent. ROH sources also indicated neither were put under contract, and many within the company had no idea of the changes to the In Motion at the time they were brought in. So that is all for the news notes. So finally, we're going to end things off with the 18 names that were released this week to put a bow on release Rehab. And I'm going to ask Cassidy Haynes and Miss Krssi Luv where they believe these superstars will go. I will also give my own prediction for these, and I'm going to group a couple of these together because I feel like they deserve to be grouped together. Starting off with, of course, Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. I will kick things off to give y'all a little bit more time to think of things, but I keep saying this on a lot of different places. AEW can't sign everybody.
Nope.
And although
Impact.
Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux would be a great act in AEW and they would stand out in their own way, I believe the best place for them is in Impact Wrestling. That's where both of them made a significant name for themselves, but also both of them didn't really get the amount of success you would expect from an Impact alumni. Like they didn't win any titles really. Scarlett Bordeaux was getting like the biggest notoriety of her career at the time she was with Impact Wrestling, but they really didn't go all the way with them, where if they go in now, they'll be huge names. He can fuck up everybody in Impact, take the title in a few months, and maybe rehab his career and be there long enough. Maybe he does get a deal back with WWE or with AEW possibly, but that's where I think Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux go. Producers, Romeo, what it is.
I got a quick question about that. Maybe you know SP3, maybe you know Cassidy. Did Kross leave on good terms with Impact Wrestling? Do they still have like a good relationship?
That's what I was getting ready to get at. As I think that when they left, it didn't have a lot to do with Don Callis. You know, I mean, I thought that was the issue there. So now that he's not in Impact, like I think everything's probably okay with them in Impact because he was the issue, I thought. So and that makes me think that AEW might not be a good fit because that's where he is now. Even though he's done just talent, he's not like involved in the creative or any of the business like backstage stuff. He's still talent, and there was issues there previously. So I figured that would come into play if they were going to decide if AEW was a fit for them, that you still have him. So I don't know. I think Impact fits better because of that solely. Like, if it wasn't for Don Callis being involved in it, I would think AEW would be the better fit for them in general. But because he's there, I don't think that seems like the place to go. Although the people worked out issues. I mean, you got CM Punk and Colt Cabana hanging out, and not hanging out, but working in the same, building. So I mean, anything can get squashed. But as far as I know, that was the only issue they had with Impact was some stuff with Don Callis. I don't exactly remember what it was. If I remember correctly, I think it was it like sexual harassment stuff? Was that what it was? I don't remember exactly. Towards Scarlett,
I believe it was. I think, something with Scarlett and like sexual harassment in some way. I forget the details to it. There's Krssi. Krssy's back with us. So Krssi, where do you think Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, will head to next?
I agree with you, SP. I definitely think Impact will be the best place for them. Because AEW right now is too much happening over there, and I think that they belong somewhere where they can like grow and be more, go somewhere smaller so it can make that company a little bit bigger with their names.
Yeah, I definitely agree and understand where you're coming from there. Let's move on to Ember Moon, or we should get used to calling her Athena again.
Athena,
where do you think Ember or Athena will head to next, Miss Krssi Luv?
Ooh, that one's a hard one.
I'm leaning towards AEW. I feel like
I would say she I think her and like Red Velvet or her and Jade could do some good stuff. Even like Thunder Rosa,
she can help out Jade in a huge way and help her progression in the company. But I just feel like Athena is just one of those talents that AEW is not going to get a bunch of the talent that was released in this mass release. Yeah. They got to be very precise and strategic on who they're going to choose here. Ember Moon would be at the top of my list. She wouldn't be at the tippy top. There's someone else that on this list where I'm just like, AEW get that like Nia. Yesterday. No.
Keith Lee. Or Mia
yes,
Yim,
Keith
right?
Lee. Yes, Keith Lee. That addresses an issue that AEW, a lot of people think that they don't have enough diversity as far as like African Americans in their main event scene. One of the main reasons some people have said that that's not possible is because WWE, ROH, all these different places have the top African American talent in wrestling. Well, that's not in like the independent scene. Well, now Keith Lee, Shane Taylor, Jonathan Gresham, Jay Lethal are all free agents, so you don't have that excuse anymore, AEW. So you need to hit with one of these signings that can address that issue, and Keith Lee is one of those people. So that would be the number one on my list. But Ember Moon also in the women's division, although there's more diversity at the top of the card than there is in the men's division, they always can use someone like Ember Moon as well. Yeah, Athena, who is just so talented and a great hand that can help their younger performers as well. What do you think, Cassidy, about Athena? Where's she heading?
I agree. I think she'd be a better fit for AEW just because the matches that you would get. You know what I mean? Like we have so many good matches that she would have, but it's going to be Impact or AEW for her, I would assume, because there's not really, or just an indie tour, which you can still do an indie tour with both of those companies. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that if it was me, I think she'd probably end up in AEW, but I could definitely see Impact making a big push for Athena, and I think she's a tremendous addition to any roster. I think her and Mia Yim would sign those two right away. Like somebody has to be on that, right? So, yeah,
absolutely. That would be has to be as far as like the women's talent.
Yeah. Impact would be probably a better fit. Impact would probably be a good
Impact going with Impact for Athena.
Yeah, I think if it was me, if I was Ember Moon, I would probably lean more to Impact just because it's not as crowded, and she could easily be one of the top right away, even though she's going to come in as such highly talented top, huge talent. But you could get lost in the shuffle in somewhere like AEW because we already addressed that. They've got so many people already, but we're thinning out again in 3 months too. Contracts are up, so.
That is true. That is true.
Her contract, she's going to be a free agent, or she's going to be cleared from the non-compete right about the time all these people's contracts are up anyway. So you might have a lot more room in a place like AEW in 3 months than you do now when she's available to work. So
that's actually a great point.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Krssi? Where do you think Athena goes?
I would have to agree with you guys with the AEW. Well, with USP, she said in fact. AEW would be. I don't think either one would be bad, but she can definitely help some of the girls that are over by AEW and help them give some great killer matches and put them over. I feel, yeah.
All right, Orny Lorcan, now Biff Busick once again. Where do you think he's gonna go? He's wherever he goes, he's gonna have great matches. Yeah, I think
gonna have a killer indie run. Yeah, he's gonna have a killer indie run. I think that's what he needs to do first. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the real wrestling fans, people that pay attention, they probably know Biff Busick, know Orny Lorcan, but the casual guy is not going to. So a good solid like indie tour would be the best for his to build up the value of who he is, you know, to go to somewhere else. So if I was him, that's what I would try to do. But you're going to get some GCW matches, I think, right away with him. Some real bangers, probably. I think I already saw I think I saw MLJ already like posting some fantasy bookings of like dream matches already with Biff Busick already. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to hit the indies hard first before he shows up anywhere. But you never know, man. I mean, you never know how this could work out, but that just makes more sense for me. I think he was an indie darling name anyway to begin with, so his return to the indies would be a little bit more. It'd have a little bit more, be more. What's the word I'm looking for? I think people would care more if he showed up and did a return to the indies tour and went to all these places that he did before he signed.
That made him big.
Matches. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can see that, especially with the GCW. There's money matchups to be made there with like Nick Gage and all the GCW stars.
GCW, you got to think that they're just sitting there, just being like, Brett's just like, oh, the gif of Birdman.
He's like, just before the Hammerstein. Thank you. All this NXT talent is going to be free.
How many people are going to free up right before that show, man? Yeah,
it's perfect timing for them.
It seems like that company's sitting. They were sitting in a very position to expand. Like you could just feel like that they're on the cusp of expanding and becoming an actual player in the big, like the conversation of being like, well, ROH is now gone as far as like who's the third. You know, is it Impact or is it going to be somebody like GCW now that can come up there and get more buzz and get more attention? You know, even though they don't have a TV deal, they still, you know, I mean, that's building the super show. Yeah, I think GCW is primed for an expansion and a boom right now, and the timing worked out incredibly. Like you just said, Hammerstein sits just after 90 days. It's how many days from today? From when they got released? It's
just before the 90 days because the 90 days they'll be freed up on February 2nd.
Oh, February 2nd.
But for the NXT talent, they're free up December 4th. So right before the Hammerstein.
Before the time. Okay.
So I think
everyone has a different 90-day time.
No, the 90 days for the main roster.
Main rosters, yeah. The people that
got it. Okay, so keep Lee, Karrion Kross, all of those people.
Yeah, they have
got it.
Nia Jax. Who else was in main roster? Those four, I think, are the 90 days.
Yeah, I believe. I don't know if Davey Boy was under a 90 day.
That is so sad.
You got to think, poor Harry. Man, I've been bitching about him for months about this. Like that just seemed like a total. Why did you sign him? Why did you sign him and use him on one dark match, on a SmackDown dark match, and that's how you debut? That's how you announced that he was there? Is in a backstage exclusive YouTube interview only that most people didn't see, and then you don't even do anything with it.
They signed him for one reason. That reason didn't work out because of the pandemic, and then just didn't know what to do with him afterwards. So since we're already talking about him, where do you think Davey Boy Smith Jr. goes to?
I probably ends up in he'll do a match in AEW at least at some point, and I think he'll probably do some MLW again too.
I think he's going to be in the Owen Hart Cup.
Definitely. Oh, he got to be like, they shouldn't even say he's overcoming. They should make him a surprise.
Yeah.
I mean that's.
But didn't we talk about this like a couple of podcast. We talked about this a couple of shows back, and we was like, "Oh, Davey Boy Smith is just shitting his pants right now because he knew."
When they announced that tournament, I said that he was punching air in catering.
Yeah.
Like he was in catering, punching the air. Like, damn it, man! I signed up too soon, and now he's freed up.
This was only like 3-4 episodes. I'm telling you, SP, you or JJ, someone said it, and yeah, look at it now. Look what happens. He's on the list, and he's like, great. And you did all that stuff. They did the whole WrestleMania spiel. They did the interviews. He's like, this is where he wanted to be, and look how they treat him. Look how you treat him.
Yeah, I would have to think he's going to be in AEW in some way, especially for the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Frankie Monet, Taya Valkyrie, where do y'all think she's heading to? She's one that's straight. Yeah, I that's what I was thinking.
Where's John Morrison? Can John Morrison be like, release me too? Since you're letting go couples, why don't you let that couple?
He wants that money. He wants that money. Take the money.
Somebody's got to win the money now, I guess. Damn,
exactly. Yeah, I kind of agree with Cassidy. Yeah, I think Impact is where she would be heading back to, because AEW, it doesn't seem like a right fit, or she would have signed with them before when she was available, in my opinion.
Or they might just not had the interest in her that we think that they should, too.
True. So, they didn't even want to do anything with the Impact Knockouts division when they were available to them. So there we go there. Trey Baxter, a.k.a. Blake Christian, who is already, like I said before, going to be on GCW in December. Where do you think he's heading to? I think he's going to be back on the Indies. Yeah.
GCW. Oh, yeah. Sure. He's going to have a solid indie run. He'll show up. I think he'll eventually hits AEW,
He'll do like the half and half shows like they have the people do now. Like, you can still be indies and still come, like back and forth. That's what I like about the whole AEW thing. Like, you don't have to be like a main person on our show, but we'll let you come back and forth if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of you actually are an independent contractor more than you are under the WWE's umbrella. Yeah. But even though Tony does get, I think, final say is whether or not they can go do that. He has to okay you to go do that show. But for the most part, I think he's okay with it as long as it doesn't,
hurt the brand,
hurt their brand, or conflict with whatever bookings they have.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Blake Christian, he's gonna. I mean, like I said, they already announced it. That was hours. They were on that quick. That was their boy. So yeah, He'll be a huge GCW return. That's going to be awesome in Dallas. I think he's returning, right? So,
yeah, and he was a name that was already on the rise before he signed with WWE. I think it was just bad timing, and when WWE was on their last spur of signing the top independent talent, they just signed him and then instantly regretted it, like they did with Alex Zane.
That's what I went back to. Like, did they just buy things not knowing what they're getting, and then like once they see what they have, they make that decision. And that's why I think we're going back to the 90-day trial kind of thing that they're going to be doing. How that's a good thing for that company to be doing if they're making these types of decisions where they're signing these guys, not really thinking about if that's something that they need or can use or do. It's just, you got to get out of that mindset that they have of just stockpiling talent just so nobody else can have it. You know what I mean? Hoarding wrestling talent just so that your competition doesn't get a chance to use them against you. So,
we should mention
he will be fine. He's young too, man.
We got Richie Moonshow saying Keith Lee, Mia Yim, and Ember Moon to AEW. So let's ask about Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Where do you think they're going to, Krssi?
I can agree with that for sure. If AEW don't sign them, they're you're missing that. You're missing the that's money right there for sure. Mm-hmm. That is definitely money, good money at that. I don't know who his first opponent would be, but that would be great money for them.
I think there's so many I would love to see Keith Lee against. Pac, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson.
Mia.
Yes, Mia Yim and Shida would be good. Mia Yim and Serena Deeb would be excellent as well.
Oh, yes. Serena Deeb has been like, I didn't know who Serena Deeb till she came there. She's phenomenal, man. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, so you missed her Straight Edge Society run there.
Yeah. Yes. That's how I discovered her.
Same. Same here. And she got fired from WWE back in the day for what being a member of the Straight Edge Society and getting drinking. She got caught like drinking out in public. Like that's what happened there. She wasn't living the gimmick.
Oh please.
Which that was the thing then. She you're supposed to be straight edge. We can't have you out being
a regular person.
Being a regular person speaking at a bar, which is like the whole like you got a gimmick thing. They let go of like BFAB for living the gimmick, basically. Because they don't like that's what somebody said too. They're like, wow, they really get on to people for not living the gimmick, and then when they get somebody that does, they let them go right away. So.
Exactly, living the gimmick too much. They don't want
too much, right?
They cut their losses there. Romeo asking, any of these women gonna go to WoW? I could see Frankie Monet. Like I said, Impact is her best option, and she could feel like she's already.
That's where what's the name is that?
Tessa.
Yeah. Yes, the fuck girl and Tessa.
Yeah, you know what?
Tessa doesn't like me, guys. Tessa's not a fan of me.
Don't worry.
We're not
she
a
made
fan
a
of
shirt
hers
based
either.
off my report, man. That whole nuclear shirt, that's my report.
Yes.
So, yeah, she's not a fan of mine. Yeah, she doesn't like me too much. But, yeah, I mean, you got to think WoW's going to try to get some of these women. But,
yeah. I can see a Jessie Kamea is one that I could see them going after, and that's another couple they broke up because I believe she go with Swerve, and I think Trey Baxter was with Cora Jade. Frantic World says we still got the ROH wrestlers. Yes, yeah. Keith Lee. I'm saying AEW sign Keith Lee, sign Shane Taylor, and give me the Pretty Boy Killers in AEW. How I discovered Keith Lee and Shane Taylor was their tag team in Ring of Honor when they used to have bangers.
Yeah.
Yes, they used to have bangers with the Briscoes, and that never had like a finish. They always went to like no contest because they would beat the shit out of each other. That's the Keith Lee and Shane Taylor I want in AEW. Put them in the tag division. Put those guys against the Lucha Bros. Put those guys against the Young Bucks, Santana and Ortiz. FTR, man, all day. Give me all of that. Give me both of them. And then eventually they split up and they're both world champions eventually. That's what I want. Give me that AEW. But two guys that are also going to be associated with each other that we should ask about, Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik, the former Lucha House Party. They wanted their release. They asked for their release a few months ago. But Krssi, where do you think they're going to head to next?
Maybe Impact.
I would expect
I could see
Nutrien, probably.
Yeah, I can see MLW because MLW has a lot of like Mexican stars that they've been focusing on that. So if ROH was still around, I would be like, that would be the first
ROH.
ones.
Yeah, that was going to be but I was like, we talked about them being demised last week, so
can't say them. Can't say them this week
anymore. Nope.
Did you guys see all this stuff on Twitter today with Lindsay Dorado and Izzy's dad?
No.
So, wait, Lindsay. I heard about Lindsay being a part of the people like MSK. We talked about last week your report on Izzy's parents being the ones behind MSK getting the negative reaction. And then I heard Lindsay was also one of the people that criticized the Izzy chokeslam as well. Right?
Yeah, and Cody tweeted he tweeted that the other day when he got released, and then today I think that there was a response today. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he
don't worry, fam. I see you, Cody Starbucks soon. I'll be at Silver Purrs Arenas today at 4 after my competition. Come down and talk. We gonna talk or what? Damn.
Yeah, and then Cody responded today. He responded today with a little like iPhone note post. You know what I mean, where you type the thing and then put the picture up or whatever. It was I don't know if he's got that to pull up too, but somebody sent me that while we were talking. This happened this morning, like right before we went on the air, where he apologized and he said, "Lindsay, no need to talk because I have truly already said too much. I am man enough to admit when I am wrong. I sincerely apologize for my insensitive tweet on Thursday. Deleting the tweet is not enough. I owe you a direct apology. I also recognize and respect what you were dealing with professionally in this moment. I should have never made such a rude off-the-cuff remark. Again, I truly apologize for my actions. You are a talented wrestler. I know that you will continue to thrive in the pro wrestling business. I want you to know that With sincerity, I do wish you and your family all the best. #apology. That's what Cody, Izzy's dad, put out today. And Chelsea Green responded. It was, she screenshotted the post and said, "No, he won't. He will bully you from afar like he's done for years to many of us and taught his family to do."
Wow. Damn. Fighting words.
Real out here in these streets. Customer receipt. Okay. Oh man. We pulling out receipts on people. It's getting serious out here. Thank you, Romeo, for your behind the scenes.
And I'm hearing that Mr. Starbuck deleted his Twitter.
Again? That's the second time in 3 weeks. That's the second time in a couple weeks. And look, I hate that too, because before all this came out, like I know them. I know Izzy and I know Cody. Like we made plans to go watch. We were going to go watch the Falcons and the Redskins, but it snuck up on us, and we missed the going and watching that game this year because I'm a Falcons fan. He's a Redskins fan. Yeah. So we had talked about that. And now all this stuff happens. I'm sure they're not fans of me and my guy that wrote that report, but shit, man.
And now Izzy's with WoW too. So you're buried with that.
I got heat with that family. I think, unfortunately, they unfriended me. They shadow blocked me. Izzy did. So we used to be friends, followed each other and stuff. But she no longer follows me. We've been shadow blocked. So that happened a couple weeks ago. But yeah,
I think our producer is shadow blocked as well. So
no, I think he deleted his account. I think Cody deleted his account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. my buddy that wrote the article about him was sending me messages during the show about that too. Like, he deleted his account again. I think. God,
this is why you're here for True Hill Heat. Breaking news on the cuff. Thank you for that. That's hilarious. A great follow up from us talking about that last week, which was a crazy story within that altogether.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes too, because I know that's not over. They're gonna keep taking shots at each other.
Yeah.
Lindsay Dorado, man. A wise man once said, "Fuck around and find out."
I like Lindsay, man. He and I are Snapchat buddies, man. I've known Lindsay for a while, so yeah, I'm enjoying this kind of stuff, you know.
Absolutely. Just have fun. You're free from your contract. You could be a little bit more of yourself.
Exactly. He couldn't have done this kind of online Twitter war stuff a week ago. You know, they wouldn't have allowed that. But now that you're free from your contract, he can speak his fucking mind without having to worry about somebody in the text to call and delete that, you know.
Have a little fun, man. So we have a couple last names here. I will ask with this one, if they even return to wrestling, Eva Marie. Do you think Eva Marie will ever wrestle again? Krssi?
Man, everybody hates Eva Marie, right?
No one is not a big fan of Eva Marie.
I think she had a lot of. I mean, obviously, she didn't get to where they wanted her to be in the ring, but you cannot deny the just natural reaction she just draws from a crowd. Like, the crowd wants to hate her and they want to boo her, and there's something to that they should have been able to do something with. Like how many times? Like, so here we go. I said this last night. You're gonna fucking try to take Adam Cole and make him a manager, but you can't do that with Eva Marie successfully. Nope. How? She gets heat just being out on there. You can't. That's a can't miss right there as well. Even though, you know, I mean, it's a wild statement to make that Eva Marie's a can't miss, but fuck, it's right there, dude. She's so over as a bad guy, a heel, regardless of what you want her to do. Just run with that, man. Like, I don't understand it at all. How they can. That's another one. How you drop the ball on that just blows me away. You had all these promos for her. Yeah. And you do so many people as a manager that shouldn't be managers, but then, like, that just seemed like an obvious thing to do until you can get her where you want her in the ring, which, I mean, I don't think that happen in 5 years. If Paul London can't do it, if he and Brian Kendrick aren't going to be able to get you where you need to be, I don't think anybody's going to. But
no, it definitely ain't going to happen in the PC, ladies and gentlemen. That's just not going to happen. Krssi, do you think Eva returns to professional wrestling, or is this at the end?
She should do an OnlyFans account, a Twitch or something. But definitely don't see her. Maybe we can get her as one of the people on the Real Housewives of the Wrestlers, because She can be one of the forefront people. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a face. She's a pretty girl.
She's beautiful.
She's beautiful. You cannot
As
deny
seems
that.
as Eva breathes and gets heat.
That's what I'm saying. And
So when you brought her back and she had Dewdrop, it was like she could have been Dewdrop's mouthpiece. Like, she could have just been. It could have been reversed. You know, like, you know, she gets the heat. Like, we already knew what her wrestling skill was, but we already kind of knew who she was. You tried that part already. What did you think was going to happen when she came back?
Yeah,
and hence
there's
where we
so
are
much-
right now.
So many missed opportunities with her.
So
I
many
think,
missed. Like, she could have
honestly.
been on, like, maybe talking smack, maybe, or doing like the backstage stuff. Like, she didn't have to be the wrestler per se. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she didn't have to get there. But definitely give her, like, make her Twitch account. I see her doing like reality TV. Do like Lana, play like Lana, be someone's brand ambassador for like Pretty Little Things, Fashion Nova. All these brands need people. You have a look, you have a body, you can sell these items, you can make money. She's like Lana. She's definitely. I feel like she's like Lana. You're talented, but you're not over to be where we want you to be. So we have to use this pretty girl's. We have to use this pretty face now. Make your OnlyFans. Your husband is a bodybuilder. You do all these other things. You can do it. But just in the wrestling forefront where you can wrestle, it's not. Unfortunately, they don't give you that heat. So maybe you could be a bad guy if you have to do wrestling. Go to Impact. Go to MLW. Matter of fact, no, she can go to WoW. Take her to WoW. Put her in WoW.
Yeah.
That's a perfect fit for WoW.
She's a great fit for WoW. Put her in WoW. Make an OnlyFans page. You can, gravitate them and say, hey guys, I'm going to be on WoW. She can bring people to come over there. Things like that. Cool. I think that she can use these things and make it work for her. She's done it before. But she should go to WoW. Yeah,
there's so much that if I was a wrestling promoter, like, that I could do, that I would think that you could do with Eva Marie. She has enough wrestling background and training to be, a manager that gets involved, or like, she could do so much with her. She's going to be able to take bumps. She's going to be able to do stuff. She's going to be able to do all the little things you needed to do.
Make managers like they used to be.
Yeah,
I don't get.
Who made it so blasé where managers are not supposed to be involved in matches or like fight and do things? Like
WWE made all their managers into wrestlers, and it made them pretty much obsolete. Where you couldn't just be a manager; you had to be a manager or a wrestler, or they shipped you out of there.
Yeah, and which is weird because the old WWF. Everybody had a manager, and managers had 7 different talents that they would manage that weren't even part of a stable half the time. You'd have Slick out there managing 6 different guys on the card that really weren't in a group. He was just a business guy managing talent. And now you can't have it. Yeah. Like, they get a manager, Robert Stone, another one. Like, that's a manager, like, or Bevins, Malcolm
Bevins. Yeah.
All these, there's a place for it in wrestling, and they just are missing it.
They can do it. It can be done.
In WWE, the place for it is NXT, it seems. If you want to be a manager, you got to stay in NXT, because if you come up here, you better learn how to take some bumps and wrestle and be Reggie, or at the very least.
They did Leo Rush. They took Leo Rush and made him a fucking manager, but they can't do it with Eva Marie. Like, I don't understand, man. Like,
and he was a mouthpiece.
Leo Rush was one of the best workers in the company, and they made him a manager.
Best workers and make him a manager, like what you were going to try to do with Adam Cole. You take one of your obviously worst workers. Unfortunately, I hate saying that, because I hate being critical of somebody that's obviously better at wrestling than I could ever be. But she's there's this. That sucks, man. They fucking drop the ball with so many people, and in so many different ways too. You know what I mean? And it's mistakes across the board. And it's not like they're always doing the same thing. There's so many mistakes in so many different areas of the company that it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
It's widespread mistakes
It's
all
widespread,
around.
widespread mistakes. Exactly.
The couple of other names that I won't even ask you about, the Katrina Cortez, Jesse Kamea, Jeet Rama. I can suspect either of those guys are going to get re-signed by WWE or be out on the independent scene. B-Fab, which was one of the more surprising names. Where do you? I think she ends up back with WWE because this seems like a premature cut, in my opinion, and I don't necessarily see where else she can fit in as nicely because of her lack of experience. So that's why I say back in WWE. What do you think, Cass?
No, that makes sense. Because they do that a lot of times where they'll release people and they're like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. Drake Maverick and a couple other examples. But she definitely seems like one that has a better chance of getting another look, like a couple months maybe, or maybe less than that. Who knows? But, yeah. I don't know where would she go if not back? Like, I don't know either.
Yeah.
Man. Like, was that an option? But even then, like, is anybody really gonna
give her a chance?
Give her a chance. That's what I was getting at. Yeah, like, not to try to take away anything, but did she get it? I don't think she had enough.
Don't sugarcoat it. It's all right.
She didn't have a long enough run in WWE to have enough weight with that name to be able to go anywhere and be like, oh shit, it's B-Fab. Unfortunately, we didn't see enough of her to make that happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
To get that type of judgment to see where she's gonna be. Krssi Luv, what do you think?
Somebody in the comments said that she can be the mouthpiece with Bowens and what that
the Acclaimed. Oh,
the Acclaimed. Someone said that in the comments, and I read it. And I was
that would be a good fit.
Someone,
but
there you go.
Pretty much just taking her from the same act and putting her into the same act in another company. But,
it
fits.
It does fit.
It fits though. You know what I'm saying? She can be a part of the Acclaim if they want to work on her, and I can see Brandy kind of taking her underneath her wing and showing her the way. I think it could work over there at AEW with the Acclaim. So I didn't know where she would go until someone put that there, but I can see it working. Let Brandy train her. They look like they have a good training system that happens on their side over there from what they show from their show.
QT does a great job with the Nightmare
QT,
Factory.
Dustin, they're doing great work over there.
So I think that she can be great if they just be a little prodigy. You know what I'm saying?
Take their time.
Take their time. Give her the time to be better because of course WWE didn't give her any time, and that's what happened. When her first match, you could see from her gear. Who put did she put that together? Did you guys put they didn't put any thought into this? We're gonna put all these guys together, but they didn't the execution was not there.
Yeah. Nah.
So let her
those are definitely valid. And then Krssi, I want to go right back to you for our final name that we got here, Nia Jax. Where do you think Nia Jax will go?
Nia. If it's not WoW, then
you just want all the controversial wrestlers in WoW. We've had Eva Marie and Tessa.
Seems like that's what they're going for. I mean,
Tessa and Nia Jax. That's the faces of your.
They were going for controversy. They tried to bring in the woman that Tessa had all that beef with.
La Rosa Negra.
Rosa Negra. Yes, thank you. Yeah. I was drawing a blank. I didn't want to screw it up. But they were trying to literally bring her into let's bring this controversy in and let's just play off that. So I mean, they're obviously not shying away from the controversial side of things. So she could be a good fit right out the gate, just because they're not steering away from that. They're embracing that. They're leaning into it almost. Obviously, with making the shirts for Nuclear Heat, they're leaning into the controversy thing. So that's probably a good fit for her, I think.
Yeah, that actually is not too far off.
Yeah.
What do you think, Krssi?
Pretty much, I think WoW is the controversy, and WoW needs names. WoW needs people to come see them. So that's a name. I don't know if she needs right. She'll be huge there, and is the fact that I don't know if she can bring the name Nia Jax with her, but she can't. No. Okay, so we'll just say, Michelle Rio, I don't know. Well, whatever her damn name is going to be. But, she's going to promote the shit out of it. You're going to have these big girls that bring heat. She can probably go over there and bring people to now watch me. I can now go over there and watch. I'm not going to. I wasn't gonna watch before because of Tessa Blanchard. But if we can bring those girls over, the other girls, we can bring people to this network and to this brand that likes controversy and like have people now be a part of this woman's brand and make it big.
And people might tune in just to see, hey, maybe Nia Jax will hurt Tessa and shit like that.
Like 2 birds, 1 stone.
There we go. I wouldn't be mad at that friend. There you go. Her ass. Clock her real good. That nose be broken, just like how you did Becky Lynch. Clock her real nice.
I think that is the perfect place to close things off on this edition of True Heel Heat. I want to thank you both for joining me, and especially Cassidy for being our special guest. You were awesome. Thank you for your insight, your knowledge of the wrestling game, everything you're doing right now over at Body Slam. Thanks, so please let the people know where they can find you, bodyslam.net, on social media, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Casshole with 3 O's, CASSHOOOLE. Follow us on Bodyslam.net too on Twitter. And that's been my thing, man. That's been my handle for everything since I was like in high school for like over 20 years. Because everybody's like, you're such an asshole. I'm like, I'm a casshole because it's my name. Yeah, you can find me on there. We're doing good stuff on Body Slam. We got some new shows we're going to release on our YouTube soon. I've been doing the Cassie Takes Chops from Pro Wrestlers web series. I've really been enjoying that. And you guys were setting me up earlier. I was Effie and AJ Gray are 2 episodes that I've got in the can to release that everybody's going to love. I got to do those back to back. Today, I think later today, I'm going to release an episode with Charlie Tiger, another Young, Dumb, and Broke, because I had Jordan Oliver last week. We'll do this week. And then next week, I think I'm going to go right into Effie. Effie will be next week's release with AJ Gray the next week after that. And that's what we're building to because, man, AJ Gray is so fucking hard. He turned me into King Hippo from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, dude. I literally fell back and slid 10 feet on the ground. I slid across the floor backstage, the showboat. Like, it's so yeah, we're building to that. So you guys will enjoy those. We got some more of those coming out. But yeah, just go to YouTube, search for bodyslam.net pro wrestling. You can find us, man. Pretty easy to find, man.
Yes, support Cass. He's awesome. He's doing awesome things over at bodyslam.net, especially that chop series. Always entertaining and a good laugh to come from that for sure. Miss Krssi Luv, please let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me every Saturday at 11:05, with my good brothers, Top Guy JJ and SP, and we might have a special guest like we always do, like today on True Hill Heat. I come in on some wash-alongs, some round tables. We do Dark Side of the Ring, even though we're not doing it right now, but you can go back and watch them on YouTube. SP and I, we do them. We've done all of the seasons so far. We just had a great one from last week. So, it was very weird not doing it this week per se. I don't know if you felt weird, but it felt weird for my Friday. Other than that, you can find me on IG and Twitter and Facebook. It's Krssi Luv _1 or just Krssi Luv, and or just my name, which is Crystal Lynch. And yeah.
Yes, thank you as always, Miss Krssi Luv, and you can find me on the Twitter machine at True Heel SP3. You can see my work over on Wrestling Daily every Monday and Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK. So support that channel as well as subscribe to the Wrestling Daily YouTube channel, as well as Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel every single Friday following SmackDown and Rampage. And then here, True Heel Heat YouTube channel. This week, we got True Rewind episode 62. We're going to be reviewing WWF King of the Ring 1996. Yes, hey. Austin 316 is born. We're going to be doing that this week, going live to review that. You can also see our full review, our full reactions following the WWE releases on the Romeo Report episode 13. More WWE releases again, so check that out. Great time to like this video, share this video with your friends, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on True Heel Heat, and become an even greater supporter of the True Heel Heat gang. Patreon.com/True Heel Heat. You can see True Heel Heat 151 post show over on there, as well as True Rewind 61 extra that's going to be up on the Patreon over the weekend. So much to support. So we want to thank you all for joining us live on True Heel Heat 150. We want to thank Cassidy Haynes of bodyslam.net, the good brother, for joining us. All good times, lots of great laughs. And remember,
Yay.
Married to Wrestling is going to be the top reality show on television.
When
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
shit actually happens, remember that it started.
Remember it started here. Yes,
because that's going to happen. Somebody's going to steal that idea. I guarantee you, that's going to be a thing.
And it was our idea first. We could sue them over it, right? Can't we?
Because this is the proof.
Property.
This is the proof right here where it was born. So even if you come up with the idea from being in the live chat or joining us on demand, let us know in the comments section below if they took the pitch and if we get credit, if we're licensed as executive producers. So for Cassidy, for Miss Krssi Luv, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been True Hill Heat 150. We are signing off until next time.